Bobby Alcock on the mound gets the start for the Crimson Tide in the crimson pinstripes and the white unis. Lance, what do you like about his stuff?
I love it. It's everything in the zone, right? He's a guy that's going to go out there and attack the hitters with command, fastball 90 to 93, and he's got all four, right? And you're starting to see that a lot. Every guy has 4-pitch mix, maybe even 5-pitch mix, but Bobby Alcock is going to just continue to pound the strike zone.
It'll be Walt Gamble and Carmichael to lead things off for the Sooners. One of the top teams in the SEC in terms of stolen bases, and Jason Walk, a sophomore, Georgia native, in search of his first hit of this weekend here in T-Town. And upstairs for ball 2 from Alcock. The Sooners lead the SEC in stolen backs this year. Although we didn't see a lot of that last night in game 1, which I thought was a bit of an anomaly.
You're right. They didn't attempt one stolen base. Something I thought we would see a lot more, and maybe expect to see that today, especially try to put a little pressure on the Alabama defense, who wasn't as crisp as they usually are.
Walk batting leadoff, 8 stolen bags this year. 292 on this season. Slow roller over to second. Norton off a 1 foot. Fields and fires cleanly for the first out. Walk retired, 1 away. Gamble, Carmichael due up next. Take a look at the Sooners batting order today. There's some weapons here for head coach Skip Johnson. We mentioned the stolen bases. 9 triples. That also leads the SEC. Taki, a home run last night. Hard-hitting first baseman, left-handed. Here's Trey Gamble. Sends it over to left field, and that'll drop in front of Snell for a base knock. First hit of the game for the Sooners. And with 1 away, a runner aboard at first, former Trey Gamble. Head coach Skip Johnson, fun conversations with him this week over Zoom and pre-game. The avid hunter and fisherman. And you took the Sooners back to the Men's College World Series just 3 years ago. Outstanding coach throughout the years. Trey Gamble down 8-game hitting streak after that knock to left. Longest for him this season. And here's Easton Carmichael, the catcher. Prosper, Texas. 0 for 4 yesterday. We mentioned a little bit about the weather. There's some showers dancing around Tuscaloosa, Lance. Throw over to first. They're going to try to keep Gamble as close to the bag as possible. He's got 9 stolen bases this year.
Well, first pitch of that at bat, he had a false break. Looked like he was wanting to go, leaning a little bit there. But look, great job of going to that back corner. If he goes any part of the other bag, he's out.
How are you on the pickoff moves back in the day?
I like the pickoff moves. A lot of it's about how quick you can get your footwork. I mean, that's one of those kind of like weapons you can have in your tool belt to go, hey, what can I do to get myself out of a big situation, right? Obviously, 1 out, man on first, it's not this huge situation, but you never know. It could be a 7th inning. A pickoff like that could win the ball game.
Hammered foul back behind us and out of play. 92-mile-an-hour heater. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Are you much of a meteorologist? Like when you're looking at the weather this weekend, I thought maybe the day was going to be a little dicier than what it's turned out to be. The breeze could be a factor.
Yeah, breeze is here. I feel like the weather, it's around us. We're just hopeful that it stays away. And maybe not the rain, but it's more of the lightning. But I think we're going to get it in, and it'll come in a little bit after this one and before the next one. So I think we're all good.
Putting you in front of the green screen, you're directing traffic with weather fronts and all kinds of stuff. Home plate umpire Alex Ransom. Anthony Perez at first. Cedric Coleman at second. That ball's going to get away from Hodo and drift over towards the backstop in that direction. Advancing to second is Gamble.
You can tell Alabama's trying to put a lot of emphasis on keeping the OU base runners there. This is the second E1 in as many games, trying to have the quick feet for a pickoff.
So the E1 puts Gamble at second in scoring position. Upstairs evens the count. I am a bit of a weather nerd. I'm just looking at the weather, staring at it all week, and just wondered if today would hold up. It's a big day in Tuscaloosa for a number of reasons. You've got softball happening, you've got baseball going down, and a little basketball game later tonight. Alcock delivers. just miss. Settles in low. Full count. Carmichael 0 for 4 yesterday. 300 hitter on the season. And a payoff is fouled back in the top of the netting.
You know, Roy, that was a lot of the story yesterday early on. Talking to Alabama's pitching coach Jason Jackson, he said Zane Adams in his 4 innings had 30 foul balls. So, I mean, the Oklahoma Sooners lineup was just spoiling pitch after pitch after pitch, and did a great job of taking those close ones, and it made it frustrating for Zane Adams.
Way outside, and the first walk issued by Alcock, and now OU with runners at first and second, only one away.
Next up, the shortstop, number 7, Jackson Willits.
Carmichael trots down to first, and that'll bring up Jackson Willits. Sophomore out of Fort Cobb, Oklahoma, and a .309 hitter this season. 1 hit last night in that Game 1 setback to the Crimson Tide. Wind blowing straight in for the time being. Gamble at second, Carmichael at first. And the infield a double play depth. Bell tie, and it's 0-1. Thirteen pitches in for Alcock. Hammered towards left, up in the air, and the wind's going to keep that one down and short. Running play for Snell for out number 2.
That's where you want to attack the left-handed hitters. You're hoping they hit that ball right there in the air to left field, because it went, like you mentioned, Roy, it is a steep wind coming straight in.
I thought that ball was going to carry much further right off the bat.
Sounded like it was gonna.
It did. It's my first game back doing baseball, so if you can help me knock off some of the rust today, I would appreciate that.
Oh, we're good.
Big second out. Dayton Taki, hard-hitting first baseman. Fastball upstairs.
He hit one last night. Don't care what kind of wind. That ball was absolutely crushed into the OU bullpen. It gave them a lead they couldn't hold, but still at that moment was a huge hit.
2 for 4 with that long ball. Alcock comes home, right back up the middle. It's a base knock. Bonamolo's going to retrieve it, and that's going to score a run. Gamble touches home plate, and just like that, OU grabs a lead in the top of the first.
How about Taki staying hot? Follows up that big blast in the 8th with a little single. Get the starters going right here for OU. Get on the board early. Fastball up and in. Is able to throw the hands, keep the hands in there, and shoot that up the middle.
Good piece of hitting. 17th RBI this season. Runners at first and second. Willits, after he was tired, they follow that up with the run-scoring single up the middle for Taki. And Carmichael now at second after he was walked. Outside of Kyle Branch. Freshman out of Lucas, Texas. Lovejoy High School over there in Lucas. Played a little baseball, a little football in high school. Love the guys that played multiple sports and kind of saw that through the prep ranks.
You talk to a lot of these college coaches, they want those guys to do that because they know they're taking the time off to get away from the game, but also the athleticism that you develop in multiple sports, but also just mentality, toughness, especially when it comes to football.
Big moment early here in the top of the first. Two-hopper over to second. Norton delivers over to Hodo. OU strikes first, so Strand a pair. Crimson Tide coming up to bat, trailing 1-0. Sooners 12-1 when scoring first this year. Cade Crossland on the mound, the junior out of Rockwall, Texas. The lefty takes the mound for the first time. And Lance, let's talk about his scouting report. What does he bring to the table?
Fastball 89 to 91. We'll touch a lot higher every now and then, but it's, you know, that's where he's going to settle in the 5-pitch mix. So he's mixing the cutter, slider, changeup as well. Biggest thing for him, though, it's reverse splits because he loves the changeups, and so he's rather facing that righty because that's what he wants to go to.
Take a look at the Crimson Tide batting order. Bonamolo, LeBron, Cade Snell will lead things off 1, 2, and 3. And Snell a little bit of a slow start, non-conference play, but when SEC play arrives, he's hitting a robust 500 so far.
Well, yeah, you're sitting at a guy that was sitting in the 7-hole, and now he's getting rewarded with the way he's playing, and he's one of those glue guys we mentioned earlier in the Open, but he's found his way hitting right behind what could be one of the most dangerous guys in the country, and so you can have a lot of RBI opportunities.
Richie Bonamolo, junior from the Bronx, with LeBron already in that on-deck circle. Bonamolo will lead things off, and Rob Vaughn, what a great job he's done. Year 2, his team off to such an incredible start at 24-3, 5-2 in the SEC, and former Kansas State catcher. Lance, it feels like he's pressed all the right buttons since taking this job.
Well, it seems like he's pressed all the right buttons in his career, right? When it comes to his head coaching career, so much success at Maryland, and Greg Byrne went out and found the guy he feels like is the next guy to lead Alabama into the future and possibly get back to Omaha.
Bonamolo gets set to dig in. Lead things off against Crossland. One 0 OU with the advantage. Sooners lost last night 8-6, and a lot more to get into from that Game 1 setback as we get deeper into this one. Bonamolo, 322 on the season at 93 on the inner half. Bonamolo attended Cardinal Hayes High School in the Bronx. Shadows of Yankee Stadium popped up. Wendell wreak havoc with that. And underneath is Branch. An adventurous first out. Our first look now at Justin LeBron. A dicey moment in the 9th inning. We mentioned that in our Open. With one out, diving towards his right, and the left wrist kind of got folded up. He was down for a minute. Tended to by the Alabama training staff, but he's good to go. And we talked to Rob Vaughn pregame. He said there were some nervous moments. Lance, you were on the call for that game. I felt it listening to you and Roger Hoover talk about it, but it's great to see him out there, and it appears to be no issues with the wrist.
Yeah, when you say down for a minute, if you're an Alabama fan, it felt like down for 15 minutes. It had gotten so quiet in here, but it's good to see him bounce back. He ended up staying in the game, making the play to end the game, but you could tell he was hurting, and now he's got a little protective guard right there, a little Evo Shield guard on that wrist.
Isn't it amazing? You get injured, you go down, and immediately the baseball finds you within like 60 seconds. And he had the game-winning play stepping on the bag at second with the bases loaded in a 2-run deal.
That's just, it's good to see him back out there. You know, if you're a baseball fan just in general in the country, you got to see guys like this play. You hate to see an injury take him out of such a special season that he's already having.
Off speed and outside. It's a ball and 2 strikes to Justin LeBron. Rob Vaughn calls him the bona fide superstar. The numbers certainly back up those comments, and a guy and a player that could be the #1 overall pick in the draft as soon as next season. A fastball at 96, and LeBron caught looking. We go back to last night, and that injury, you guys were on the call. What did you think when you first saw this in real time?
Well, first off, I'm like, is he going to make this play? That ball's so deep in the hole, and you see it go in the glove, and then once he did that, it was like, uh-oh, you know, this is one of those special players that you don't want to see go down. And he stays down there for a little bit. They check it out. They kind of did some pressure things with it and stays in the game. But Coach Vaughn said he was like, I didn't know what to think. And once he starts running out there, boy, you're just hoping the best for him.
2 up, 2 down for Cade Snell. Right back up the middle. Slow roller. Willits on the move. And a 1-2-3 bottom of the first for Cade Crossland. 1-0 our score. Top of the second coming up. Against #1 seed Duke.
I can't stop thinking about the 3 free throws that Ashley Barker hit. I mean, it's one of those things where it was to go to in overtime, to go to double overtime, and she nails 3 free throws that had to be the most stressful things you could have ever imagined, and she absolutely crushed them.
What would be the baseball equivalent of that?
I mean, you're talking like a 3-2 count.
hammered down the right field line, and this one is going to get out of here. One pitch, one more run for the Sooners, Sam Christensen, and that'll be his 4th home run of the season. And it's now 2-0 OU. Well, that got out of here in a hurry.
You know, 90-mile-an-hour fastball inside part of the plate, and does a great job of hooking it. It wasn't a question of, hey, did he hit it hard enough, right? 105 off the bat. Was it going to be high enough? Just the way Bryce Fowler looked like he was going to play it off the wall, but just inside that fair pole, up that 320.
There's Dawson Willis. Off speed on the outer half. Floats across for a called strike. Could I sell you on the fact that, to me, that sounded just like Jason Willett's fly ball to left field back in the 1st inning?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough sell. A little tougher.
Valid on your part.
Well, you hit it away from the wind, too, though, so I can get you, though.
It's Jackson Willits that lofted that one. Sounded loud off the bat. 0-2 the count. 2-0 Oklahoma. Game 2 after the 8-6 win by the Crimson Tide last night in Game 1. You mentioned the 105 exit velocity off the bat of Sam Christensen. Willis takes low and away. Dawson 2 for 4 last night. And a swing and a miss, the first strikeout for Alcock for the Crimson Tide.
That's a good answer back right there by Bobby Alcock. Already getting down 2-0, especially after a big home run. How's the pitcher going to answer back? And he gets right back in the zone, gets ahead of him, and once you get in that advantage count, puts him away.
Here's Deshaun Harris. We saw him last night in a pinch hitting role. Bases loaded, the game on the line. And a chopper over to LeBron at short, who stepped on the bag at second. Get the force out to end it. 0-1 the count here.
It was a good at bat because he hit that ball really hard. And that's one of those things where you're glad Justin LeBron was in there. He got it, and he had to sprint to second base just in front of the base runner that was hustling.
Two balls and a strike. Question for you. Do you stand the entire time calling a baseball game?
I stand probably 6 or 7 of the 9 innings.
I love that.
And I know you do.
I love it. It's better energy. I think it sounds better. I think as a broadcaster, we project a little bit better. And I don't know, like, you just call a better game standing up. There's more energy, Lance. And you got the baseball, too, which I think is even.
Well, you said you needed it, so.
It's my first game back, first game of the season. Working on that 12-6 release.
How would the first pitch go for you?
I think I would be
nervous?
Solid. Yeah, there would be a little nerves, but I think I could get it over the plate. Now, I'm not telling you how fast it's going to be or what it would look like.
Full distance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Have to. I mean, that's when you get made fun of.
Of course. And a walk. That'll be the second issued by Alcock, and OU with a runner at first. Don't forget, we'll wrap up the weekend right here on SEC Network. Top baseball team in the land. #1 Tennessee, defending national champions, playing the final game. 3-game series against South Carolina. It's down at Founders Park in Columbia. Our coverage starts tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Vols won game 1 in the Midlands of SC, 11-7 yesterday. I'll get the Gamecocks on Tuesday in a midweek tilt. Looking forward to seeing Coach Maneri's team for the first time this year. Back to the top of the order, Jason Walk. Grounded out to second his first plate appearance. See how aggressive Skip Johnson wants to be with Harris over at first.
I expect them to be really aggressive now that they have a 2-0 lead. It's kind of in their hands. Hey, the stress is gone once you get that lead. Now can you play your game? That's exactly how Reggie Willits wants to play it. He's their offensive coordinator, basically, and he liked to play that game. And so I look for them to put a lot of pressure.
Oh, the pickoff, they got him. Harris was leading towards second. And the quick toss over for Alcott for out number 2.
The quick feet starts it all. You get the head, the shoulders turn. Looks like it might be close. I see Oklahoma's first base coach Todd Butler, former Alabama assistant, was looking over and he was telling Coach Skip Johnson, like, it's close. I don't know if you want to waste that call.
Ball and a strike to count. First base umpire Anthony Perez. That changes the complexion of this inning, and you wonder how that impacts OU on the base paths moving forward.
Or at least shows that, hey, he has quick feet, he has a good move, he can do the pickoffs that he needs. Now, it's still, they still have to play their own game, right? That's who they are, leading, like we already saw, leading the SEC in stolen bases. There are a team that's going to run, but you're right, you do have to respect the move now a little more than you thought.
There's Todd Butler, OU assistant. 46 stolen bags back in '88. It's in their DNA. They talk about OU DNA. The football team, that's upstairs to even the count.
Got a chance to visit with Coach Butler and my old head coach, Coach Wells, who he worked for I think 7-ish years. We had lunch yesterday, and boy, if there wasn't a game yesterday, we'd probably still be at Baumhauer's watching basketball and just having unbelievable conversation.
Matamolu tracking the third and final out, but Sam Christensen, one pitch, no issue.
Yeah, jumps all over this heater. The ball comes in. Sam Christensen, hands stay in. The lefties love it down and in. We got a 2-0 ball game.
Notice this week, man, that kind of messes with you when you win that first game and all of a sudden we're here, and how do we take the next step after that? Well, they lost the next 2, and I think he and the team, he talked with the team about it. We got to press the reset button. And he was like, internally, the wheels were turning a little bit. Maybe it wasn't happening with my guys. But an interesting conversation we had with him. Plattner will lead things off.
Yeah, I thought that was a good thing for him. He owned it, right? He said, like, I actually, we preach, stay in the moment, be where your feet are, all these types of things, the cliches that all these coaches are using. He goes, that's how I'm trying to live my life and be the coach for them. And all of a sudden, he goes, after that first one, he goes, hey, we just beat the #1 team. We're 4-0 in conference. He said he kind of let it get to him. And he goes, and like you said, Roy, I don't know if it affected the players that way, but he said he went and he had in the team meeting, he threw it out there and just kind of owned it. And so you love to see that. And I think that's why the players just absolutely love playing for Rob Vaughn.
After a 7-pitch first inning, Crossland delivers low and away. Second pitch changeup had Plattner out in front. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. 9 of 11 thus far for Crossland have been for a strike. Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott. Weather holding up so far in Tuscaloosa. Chopped down the third baseline into left field. Plattner rounding first, and will make it into second, standing up. That ball caroled around for a minute, and his 7th double of the season.
Well, you get a lot of this with the left versus right. The fastball is coming back to the inside part of the plate. Will Plattner just gets the hands out right inside the bag. And it looked like it just kept curling. And he's able to get that stand-up double.
Will Plattner now has reached 12 straight. Leadoff double for the Crimson Tide, trailing 2-0. There's Will Hodo. Young William, senior out of Waynesboro, Mississippi, Wayne Academy. He's been the Crimson Tide's everyday first baseman. Crossland facing Hodo with traffic for the first time today. Will 0 for 5 in game 1. Sends this one down the left field line. A little bit of pop. Slicing foul. yeah, the transparency for Coach Vaughn and just revealing his thoughts about what it was like beating Tennessee, defending champs. And I mean, you know what Tony Vitello's team is all about. And to suggest, hey, we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, and in my mind, wait a second, we're beating these guys. What's next? What's coming up? A team that's now 24-3, off speed and low and away.
It still shows something, though, for his program to get to the point. Back-to-back years, Tennessee had come to Tuscaloosa last year. They take the series, the only team to beat Tennessee in a series, and then they come again, having to make that second trip in a row, and they take the first game. So it shows they're at a point where they're getting to the point where they can play with teams like that.
Second strikeout for Crossland. Rob Vaughn back to the drawing board. You look at those 6 top 25 victories so far this year for the Crimson Tide.
I think it all starts with the belief, right? You have to believe you can win when you go on the field. And for years, it just seemed like Alabama's talent wasn't where it needed to be to compete with the top end of the conference and teams in the country. But now, as he's getting his players in, he's more athletic. That's what he wanted to do, get more athletic players on the base pass and defensively. And now he's got the guys. They have power. They have everything. It's more of a well-rounded ball club. And you see that with 6 top 25 wins already.
First look at Jason Torres, junior, Miami transfer, Miami Springs High School. His brother Steven also played college baseball. Ball and a strike to count. Torres yesterday 3 for 5, drove in a run. Yeah, Will Plattner over at second with the leadoff double. Crimson Tide trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time here in game 2. 2-0 deficit. Hammered foul. It's a ball and 2 strikes. You'll be watching that game tonight, Duke and Alabama. I mean, that's a game with cachet. It's a late tip-off, and Rob Vaughn told us, yeah, we'll be dialed into that one. Got Coleman Coliseum right here behind right field at the Joe, and I mean, that's going to have America talking.
I mean, growing up, basketball fan, just as a young kid, loved the sport of basketball. It was one of my favorite things to do was play basketball. Like, you either love Duke or hate Duke when you were young. And
Nobody likes Duke.
Oh, man, I was a Bobby Hurley, Christian Laettner, Grant Hill. I mean, those guys would slap the floor. I thought it was awesome. But guess what? You get out of there, move to Tuscaloosa, go to school. Guess what? Yeah, we're going to hopefully smash Duke.
Hard of the plate and a called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts, the punch-out variety this time for Crossland.
But Jason Torres does not agree with this call. It's the changeup down. He'd already thrown one in. That's actually a little breaking ball. Love the frame by Carmichael, though. Boy, a pitcher's best friend. You get that catcher bringing that ball back up in the zone. He's already shown a solid three-pitch mix with the slider, the changeup. And he's been up to, what, 96 that we've seen so far?
Yeah, he's whipped it past him at 96. Garrett State now healthy after that wrist injury. Forced him out for 21 games. Saw him last night and again today, now as the designated hitter. And into the dirt, it's 1-0, and a nice stop by Carmichael. Nobody liked Duke. I mean, I do remember the Bob Hurley team and Christian Laettner and, you know, the crazy comeback against Kentucky in the tournament.
Yeah, but that was, what was the 92? I mean, how many times did I practice the Laettner dribble once and go the other way, the fadeaway? I got fouled a lot of times on that, though, because you missed a shot and you had to get fouled.
Popped up shallow center and walk underneath it. Leadoff double, stranded at second. 2-0 our score. 2 in the books in Tuscaloosa. Not too rainy just yet. I'm going to stick around for the softball game tomorrow. Alabama and Georgia over at Rhodes House. And looking forward to seeing the Crimson Tide back in action against the Bulldogs there. Breaking ball stays high and out of the zone.
How about Coach Murphy? Patrick Murphy, 1,300 wins. That's a long time coaching.
1,300 wins and their victory in the midweek. Always enjoy talking the sport with Murph. 2-0 the count. Trey Gamble, 2 hits this weekend. 2 for 5. That's a lot of wins, a lot of dubs, right? You've been doing it a while. He's not that old either, too. He's 57. 3-0 the count. Trey Gamble. Oklahoma has acquitted itself well in its transition into the SEC. 4-3 so far in the league. You know, the standings are kind of topsy-turvy. A 4-pitch walk issued to Gamble, leadoff man aboard for the Sooners for now the second straight inning. What's happening down in Gainesville, Florida?
Oof. If they would have lost that third game, the second game yesterday, the doubleheader, that would have been a tough watch. I mean, 0-9 would have started off, but we're able to squeak it out. Now they're sitting at 1-8 again. It's tough. They've struggled last year. They lost 6 straight series, but they still figured it out, play again, gets into the tournament. You know, Sully's just a phenomenal coach and has his team believing, you know, battling a lot of injuries, but still, though, that has to be A&M and Florida have to be the biggest shocks to me. You know, there's other teams that you're like, okay, I didn't expect them to do this well this early, but you definitely did not expect those two teams to be as bad as they have been.
Tennessee, of course, at the top, the defending champions. Alcock already with 3 free passes. That's going to prompt a conversation. Plattner trots out to the mound. 6 of 11 first pitch strikes. Easton Carmichael, the hitter. Plattner back behind the plate. And Carmichael digs back in. He's walked in his first plate appearance. And remember, Alcock does have that pickoff, and they're going to award second base to Trey Gamble.
Yeah, give him a balk move that front foot a little too soon, and with a veteran like Todd Butler at first base, a guy that was a base stealer. We already saw the 46 bags. I mean, he knows exactly what he's looking for.
OU another runner in scoring position. Here comes small ball on the bunt, executed perfectly, and an infield hit for Easton Carmichael. Advancing to third is Trey Gamble.
You watch right here, the front foot moves. And then Oklahoma, more pressure. They can do it on the base pass. They can do it the bunt. If you're Bobby Alcock, you got to pick that ball up. It's you the whole time. If you can't get it, you got to keep going. He kind of veered off the route a little bit, put Will Hodo in a tough spot, but just showing you what they can do. I mean, that's the number 3 hole hitter, the catcher, athleticism, everything that they have, going out there, showing the push bunt, getting the sack, but also getting the hit as well.
So the knock has runners at first and third, and Jason Jackson out of the Crimson Tide dugout. Talk with Alcock for a moment. How were you on the mound visits? Was that something you were accepting of, welcoming there on the mound, or maybe not?
For sure. I mean, you have to accept coaching. There's times where the game starts to speed up, the heart rate starts to go on, you're kind of spinning out there a little bit, and a lot of times that's all it is. Hey, just breathe a little bit, calm down, let's go. We're okay, our offense is good, don't worry about it, right? We can score more than 2 or 3 runs, so don't let this inning get out of hand. Get you the ground ball, and that's a lot of times what the coaches are going to do, because there doesn't look to be that much going on mechanically for Alcock yet.
Willits smashes that one foul. Jackson 1 for 5 this weekend. Flying out to left field. His first plate appearance. There's activity in the Bama bullpen. Buchanan getting loose. Runners at the corners, outside, evens the count. Perhaps some questions about Riley Quick and maybe why he didn't get the start here in game 2 today, Lance.
Yeah, he has been dealing with a little blister. He's had it a lot of the starts, but there's sometimes it pops up, sometimes it doesn't, and it really affected him last week versus Tennessee. don't know what they're going to do, if it's going to be the whole weekend, or if you're just giving them an extra day. But it's one of those where when you think of like a hamstring injury that's going to be nagging and you just play with it all year and you're just really not your best. So, hey, take 1 week off, miss a start so you can be better the last 7 and into the postseason.
2-1, fly ball lifted to center, retreating Bonamolo underneath, and that should be deep enough to score the run. It is a sac fly for Willits. An RBI for Jackson, his 26th of the season. And that makes it 3-0 OU.
Just playing the game the right way. Bunt him over, get him third base, less than 2 outs, and you get the ball up. That's what you're taught as a hitter. Get him up in the zone, get you a fly ball, a sac fly, and just continue to add to OU's lead.
So Gamble crosses home plate. That brings us to Dayton Taki again. Mentioned his pop. He sets up in the back of the batter's box. Off speed pitch that just grazed the outside corner, and a delayed steal for Carmichael, and that'll be his 7th of the season. So another runner in scoring position now for the Sooners.
Roy, that was a perfectly executed delayed steal. Got the secondary. Will Plattner goes to the knee, can't see it with the left-handed hitter. Perfect timing.
Squaring to bunt is Taki. I can hear the affection in your voice and watching that sequence.
Well, you're thinking, see, like secondary, perfect. He goes to the knee to catch it, and then when you have the left-handed hitter, he can't obviously see that. So that was the perfect time to do it and perfectly executed.
Sooners 3 runs on 4 hits, still batting in the top of the 3rd. 2-1 the count. Dayton Taki.
And this is the offense we expected to see from Oklahoma, putting pressure every inning so far. They've scored. It is a single run every inning, so obviously the game's not out of hand. It feels like it's a lot worse for Alabama, but right now Oklahoma has the game where they want it to, putting pressure on that defense.
Taki sends it back and out of play. 2-2. We mentioned the home run yesterday. Had some pop, some juice on that baseball.
Oh, change up, just stayed up off of Osmer, and he absolutely deposited. And it was big because that was the first time they were able to take that lead. Couldn't hold it at the bullpen, but it showed they had a little fight left in them.
And the 2-2, he went around. And Alcock records the important strikeout, his 2nd of this game, and out 2 here in the top of the 3rd.
This is his best off speed. This was the slider on the inside part of the plate, and it looks like a fastball in. That's why you see Taki. That's what he wants to. He wants to go get that ball, and at that last second dives right in there. Big swing and miss. That's a huge out.
Carmichael remains his 2nd. Here's Kyle Branch. And Branch off a hop. Justin LeBron fields and fires to retire the side. Sooners had a run on the sac fly by Willits. 3-0 our score, home half of the 3rd coming up.
But he said that was when he knew that Justin LeBron was different than he was last year, because those 2 3-run home runs, big park like that, minor league ballpark, opposite field, is just way out of there. He said that's when we knew we had something special going on.
OU 3 runs on 4 hits, a run in every frame. Alabama just 1 hit thus far, a leadoff double by Plattner, and this ball's got some carry to it. All the way back the heart of the track, and Norton flirting with his 7th home run of the season. A very loud first out, home half of the 3rd.
Deshaun Harris, boy, this is not fun for a pitcher. You see the outfielder all of a sudden start sprinting to the wall, and that wind holds it just enough. Talk about an athletic outfield.
Gamble, Walk, and Harris out there big time. Here's Bryce Fowler, batting 9th this afternoon. First pitch strike. Madison, Mississippi. Fowler, Pearl River Community College, started his career at Southern Miss. Table setter at Pearl River. And 3-hopper over to second. Branch, nicely done for out number 2.
Oh, I love the way Crossan's moving the ball in and out with that fastball. He's keeping hitters, keeping their hands tied up and not letting them get extended. Biggest thing too, Roy, 7 of 9 first pitch strikes through the first way through that order.
As a pitcher, what does that tell you?
Says he's attacking the zone, get ahead, stay ahead. You have the guys, you know, when you're falling behind, hitters then get into that count where they expect different pitches, right? You fall behind 2-0, 3-1, you know you're going to get a fastball for the most part. And so he's staying ahead, and he just has the hitters going, hey, you just don't know what's coming. And so by moving the ball in and out, now they're not as comfortable because he's going fastballs in, he's going fastballs away. I even saw him go changeup into a righty. So doing a great job of mixing not only pitches, but also locations.
Bonamolo, 0 for 1. Back to the top of the Crimson Tide batting order. Crossland has been on point thus far and in control. The battle of Crimson. You got OU and the Crimson and Cream, but today the gray, if you will, and of course the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Now that both of these teams are in the Southeastern Conference. Who wears it best, Lance?
Well, it's tough when you look at it. I like both of them, right? They're both Nike schools. They both do a thing, but I love the crimson top with the gray pants. But man, it's tough to beat a good pinstripe, especially in the sunlight that just gleaming on those white pinstripes. Alabama's equipment manager, Junior Walden, he does a great job with the uniforms, and it's a guy that loves baseball, wants the boys to go out there looking good, and you got to give a lot of credit to those Nike schools. They look good.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The story so far, Oklahoma. Cade Crossland. Sooners trying to tie this series up after an 8-6 setback last night. A lot of fireworks in that game. We talked about it in the open. OU left the bases loaded. LeBron went down for a moment at short, deep in the hole, made a nice stop. Ball came right back to him with Harris, the pinch hitter. That ball sneaks through. Who knows how that game reaches its conclusion. 3 balls and 2 strikes here. Bonamolo. Crossland already. 1-1-2-3 frame. A laser beam towards the gap. Left center, and it is gone. Second home run of the season for Richie. And it is 3-1.
Roy had back-to-back days. Coach Vaughn moves guys up in the lineup. They say, hey, like, good decision. Richie Bonamolo Jr. been hitting 9 all year. Put him in the leadoff spot. He gets a pitch, drives it into the bullpen. He says, I don't need that stiff wind. You can't knock that ball down.
And that was right into the teeth, and it was a no-doubt shot. Here's LeBron. Off speed and out in front. First team All-SEC, first team freshman All-America last year by D1 Baseball. And the walk-off winner against North Alabama earlier in the week in the midweek tilt. 0-2. And Rob Vaughn set to join us coming up after Bonamolo's second home run of the season moments ago. 3-1 our news score. Outside, try to get him to chase, and Justin waiting the whole time.
It's perfect sequence. Change up, swing and miss, a little bit up. Next one, a little bit lower. Gets to another swing and miss, and then if you're going to put him away, and you're going to go 3 straight to the well, a little bit lower, a little bit slower, but LeBron shows he could lay off of it.
And LeBron has now struck out twice. Cade Crossland, an impressive start. His team with a 3-1 lead. 3 innings in the books here in Tuscaloosa. Talk to Rob Vaughn, head coach of the Tide. Coming up.
Stuff, because these guys, you can see it. It's a different offense when they start playing with the lead and you start giving them some free bases. So got to be a little bit cleaner. We had a delay steal when we fell asleep, so we got to be a little bit better there. But he's fighting for us.
When you talk now offense, right, what does the game plan need to be from Crossland? Because he looks like he's landing all 3 pitches and making it tough on your guys.
Yeah, if you could relay the changeup from the press box to our hitters, that would be good. Man, we knew what a good pitch it was. It's a really, really real changeup, and he's doing a good job, man. He's ahead of hitters. He's kind of on the attack, and he's down at the bottom. Not a lot of balls in kind of the damage zone, and you know, I thought Norton put a really good swing on that. Unfortunately, kind of hit it into the teeth of the wind right there. But big swing by Bono there. So you just got to keep grinding him out. You know, hopefully second time through, once guys have seen him, it gets a little bit cleaner with it. But man, Lance, you know better than anybody, man. That changeup is real if you can throw that. And he's throwing a really good one right now.
Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck rest of the way.
Thanks, guys. Roll Tide.
Rob Vaughn, year 2 here in Tuscaloosa. Former K-State catcher, Maryland head coach, doing a great job here with the Tide.
When you have the opposing coach giving you that much credit, right? I already mentioned he's throwing it in, away. He's mixing that as well. So it just shows you how good of a pitcher and how much respect each guys they have for the pitcher.
Sam Christensen, a ball and 2 strikes. Also, Rob Vaughn, best beard in the game right now? The best baseball beard, arguably, in college baseball. That's the first thing I said to him walking up to him in the dugout this morning.
You did. He liked it. Right when you said it, he started kind of, making sure it was all situated right.
Christensen fights it off inside, right off the knuckles. I mean, I have to identify that when I see it, I mean, there's something about baseball, there's something about the beard and the perfect baseball beard. When you see it, you know it. And I mean, there's different kinds of beards you can go with. As someone that started growing a beard for the first time about 10 years ago, look, right or wrong, I pay attention to it, Lance. It's who I am.
Absolutely. Well, especially you can get the baseball beards, right? You get those when it comes to postseason time and you see some of the scraggly. Like you think of hockey and those guys get scraggly. No, Coach Vaughn's got it nice and cleaned up.
Teach me how to do mine like that. That's, I'm working on it. We're a work in progress. You got the beard going. Have you always been a beard guy?
I haven't. I couldn't grow it like you just said. It was one of those things where you had to just let it go, and it had to look bad. You had to go through the very bad stages to get something. I keep it low.
The punch out Christensen is retired, and the third for Alcock. And the knees buckled, and the breaking ball settled in nicely. 3-1 our score here in the top of the 4th inning. OU with a run in every frame. Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott. Turned out to be a nice day for baseball. I would imagine like Tuscaloosa is buzzing tonight with the chance to go back to the Final Four, back-to-back years.
I mean, especially when you hadn't had one and all of a sudden you get one and you have a lot of expectation, right? You got the #1 ranking at one point this year, but it's stayed around the top 5. So this is kind of what was expected this year. So having the opportunity to play for it, and you always hear the saying, right? To be the best, you got to beat the best. And so why not play Duke and get a chance to move on, which most people feel Duke, Auburn might be the 2 best teams in the country with the best odds to win it. So if you're going to go do it, knock them off.
Chance to go back to the Final Four after Nate Oates' team did it last year.
If that happens, Nate Oates, anything he wants in Tuscaloosa, he will have.
I thought that was already the case.
Well, I think it kind of is. Outside of maybe a new stadium, he's getting some extra stuff going on right behind the Oklahoma bullpen. But, man, you go back-to-back Final Fours when they had never gone. Yeah, he's going to be head honcho in this city.
Willis tried the breaking pitch, ended up hitting. Alcock rather tried the breaking pitch that hit Willis right in the back. You see some of that construction over there near Coleman.
It can be a state-of-the-art with practice and locker room.
Will they give you access to any of that over there?
No, absolutely not.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, you're trying to go play some pickup ball games, right? You need a place to play. I might try. We can. If I use your name, if I drop your name, will that get me anywhere?
That'll get you locked out. Here's Harris. Runner at first with one away here in the top of the 4th inning. Could you defend Mark Sears on a single possession and prevent a bucket?
No, that's what we'd be wanting, the zone. Zone D, 2-3, 2-1-2. Or trying, we'll go boxing one and let somebody else do it. I'll just stand here and stay away. No, there's some quickness and toughness there as well that he just, boy, if you can't get in front of that left hand, he can take you all the way to the hoop. He leans that shoulder in as good as anybody.
It's a good year for Oklahoma hoops as well. Could be 2. Torres over to second. back to first in time. 5-4-3 double play. And the twin killing retires the side in the top of the fourth inning.
A little pitcher's best friend, Torres to Norton. Hey, speed on the base pass. You execute, you can get it.
Home half of the fourth inning. Alabama 12th in the country, trailing 9th-ranked Oklahoma 3-1. Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott. You talked about ending droughts in basketball. Nate Oates' team making the Final Four last year. First time ever. And, hey, there have been a couple associated with the baseball program. You know something about the last time Crimson Tide reached Omaha back in 1999.
Yeah, I wish I didn't. I wish it had been back and forth. But, yeah, it's been a long time for Alabama baseball. That was at a stretch, though, where it was 3 out of 4, 96, 97, play for the title against LSU. And in 99, we lost to the eventual national champion Miami Hurricanes. We lost to them twice. There's some proud history here, though, at Alabama, and Rob Vaughn looks to be the guy to be able to bring that history back. I mean, Greg Byrne goes and handpicks Nate Oates, and we already talked about what's happening there. And he found the guy he wanted. He said Rob Vaughn was his top guy, and he went and got him and brought him here, and we'll see what happens.
Sooners last reached Omaha back in 2022 under Skip Johnson. They certainly have their ingredients for outstanding play and transitioning into the SEC. They've got the shift on for Cade Snell. And all kinds of real estate down that left field line. And anticipating Cade to pull. 431 on the year, 500 in SEC play. That's a look at the shift. Cade Crossland, impressive in this start.
Boy, check this out, Roy. You could talk about Oklahoma 22. I mean, look at the teams. You know, take Alabama, Missouri, South Carolina, and Georgia, and the rest of the conference, 12 of them, 2021 and on, right? So you're talking, hey, you think you're better, and you can be. Like you can feel better about yourself and your program and everything, but you still might be 10th or 11th in the SEC. And when it comes to, what is it, 5 straight national titles by 5 different teams in the SEC the last 5 years, just shows you the depth, the quality, everything about the SEC and how tough it is.
That's a familiar refrain for those transitioning over from basketball into baseball. Right back up the middle, and a player into center field drops for a base hit. Leadoff man aboard for the tie. Cade Snell now 4 hits in this series against the Sooners.
Well, he's one of those guys that Coach Vaughn moved up 7-hole for most of the year, puts him in the 3 spot. Felt like he would give a little bit more protection to Justin LeBron, and boy, has he continued to hit and stayed hot.
So Snell now an 8-game hit streak, his second such run of this season. Leadoff man aboard for Will Plattner. Catcher with a leadoff double his last time up in the 2nd inning. 3 hits this weekend. Fights that pitch off from Cade Crossland. Mentioned the success for Oklahoma basketball this year. Porter Moser, his 4th season, got the Sooners into the tournament with Jeremiah Fears leading that dynamic backcourt. Could be a lottery pick coming up in the NBA draft later this summer. And for Skip Johnson, looking to get his team back to Omaha. It's funny, Lance, both of these teams were picked kind of near the bottom of the SEC preseason poll. I don't want to suggest an afterthought, but kind of in that direction, and here they are both currently ranked inside the top 12 nationally.
Yeah, well, 13 of the 16 have been ranked by D1 Baseball. And, yeah, you got teams like Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss. Those guys in Oklahoma are like 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's where the projections were. So you would say, hey, yeah, there's a little shock. Maybe they're playing a little bit better. take away those other things. But look at that right there, 11, 12, and 13, and now those teams are all in the top 12. I mean, that's just shows you that like you can be good and still be the a 13th team in your conference. That's just the depth of there is just unbelievable.
2-2 from Crossland in the dirt and a full count.
I think the biggest thing for Crossland and what he's done so far well is he's been economical. He's only at 46. This will be the 47th pitch. Only gone 78 pitches is the highest he's been.
94 and a strikeout.
It shows he still has a lot of juice, though. You just mentioned it, Roy. 94 up in the zone. I mean, when you can mix that with the changeup that Coach Vaughn was talking about, that's all you really need for those right-handed hitters. He has shown a good breaking ball, but shows he's got some good life on that heater.
5 strikeouts today for Cade Crossland, a very big first out, and here comes Will Hodo. Former 2021 Mississippi 3A Player of the Year, Will Hodo. Familiar last name, of course, his cousin Douglas Hodo's played at Texas. Fastball inside. Wind starting to shift towards right field. It's been a cloudy day, but the sun's kind of peeking through the sky at the present moment, which is not a bad thing. It warms us up a little bit more. 1-2. I'd say it's like a stratonimbus atmosphere, what I'm looking at.
I'll just agree with you. I'll say yes, nod my head. And
I'm not even sure that's accurate, but it feels right.
it sounded good. It's all about delivery a lot of times.
Yes. Fake it till you make it. And Crossland back-to-back strikeouts. Now with 6 in this start today. And after the leadoff man reached and Cade Snell, 2 away.
Back-to-back sliders in the zone. Just seeing that Crossland, the pitch is there. When you see the hitter swing and miss on the breaking balls that are in the zone, shows you they're not seeing it well, and he's doing a great job of mixing those pitches because he's keeping the lefties honest with the fastball in. Even though it was a ball, he's keeping them honest. That way he can go for that breaking ball.
Here's Torres. Struck out his first plate appearance. That was the 3rd of the afternoon. It'll get away from Carmichael for a moment. The throw down to second, not in time. So on the wild pitch, Cade Snell at second base.
Good dirt ball read right here by the captain. Cade Snell sees it down. And I think if Carmichael comes up with it clean, might have had a shot to throw out Cade Snell, but once he tries to grab it, bobbles it a little bit, and Snell's able to get in there, get in a scoring position with 2 outs.
Inside to Torres. 3 for 6 this weekend. Drove in a run last night. The Miami transfer.
This is one of the first real advantage counts for an Alabama hitter that I can remember. That's why Crossland has done so well and kept the pitch count down. He's been in his advantage counts. This is where it's going to come down, though. You get the guy in the scoring position. Alabama was so good last night. You see 6 for 14 with the 3 RBI with 2 outs, and they were able to hold Oklahoma to only hitting 100.
Three and 1. Leadoff single by Cade Snell. He's now at second base with 2 away after back-to-back strikeouts of Plattner and Hodo. Snell from Dothan, Alabama, Wallace State Community College at Auburn for a cup of coffee. Runners now at first and second on the free pass. Issued to Torres, and Skip Johnson, the head coach, set to join us coming up for the Sooners. Year 8 in that College World Series appearance 3 years ago. We had fun talking with him this week about some of his hunting expeditions, and other things that occur in the great Midwest and even down in Texas.
Yeah, there's no doubt that.
And he said you were given great information because when he sits down to talk to you about hunting, it may be a 2-hour conversation, and it's going to be a one-sided deal with Skip. Big moment here, and a first pitch strike off speed comes into Garrett Staten. I'm not a big hunter. I don't know if you are.
No, I never grew up hunting. South Louisiana, not really hunter, not really fisher. My dad played like professional softball, so I feel like a slow pitch softball. I spent 6 or 7 nights on the softball diamond.
On a line that's going to drop right in front of the left fielder. Gamble, 1 run is in. That makes it 3-2. And a 2-out run scoring single off the bat of Garrett Staten as the Crimson Tide in business.
They've gotten to him this inning because the pitches have been up. You'll see the ball's up in the zone, and that's where the hitters want it to. Ball flattens out a little bit, and Garrett Staten continues to rake. I mean, he was hot when he got hurt. He's come back. He has picked up where he's left off. RBI in every single game that he's come back from that injury.
Torres now at second, Staten at first, and the tying run in scoring position. And here comes Skip Johnson out of the dugout. A little bit of activity in the OU bullpen, but not much. Just starting to get loose down there. And what would be your message to young Cade Crossland at this point, Lance?
But exactly what I just said about the pitches, right? It's just up in the zone. Hey, let's get back down in the zone. That's where you made a very good living early on, and I think that's what Coach Johnson's going to preach out there. I mean, he does such a good job of calming guys down. He's such a calming presence when you talk to him, and so that's his knack. And when it comes to, right, he gets the pitching guru nickname, and so just go out there and just talk to the guys, calm them down. Look, you got 2 outs. Get down in the zone. You make your pitch. Let the defense make a play. We'll get the offense going.
Crossland from Rockwall, Texas, Weatherford Junior College transfer. His dad played baseball at Southeastern Oklahoma State University back in the day. First pitch, scorched over to second, and Branch in time to retire the side. Alabama will scratch home a run. 3-2 our score. Talk with Skip Johnson at the top of the 5th inning coming up.
Pitch to hit. I mean, he's kind of all over the place a little bit. You just got to get a good pitch to hit, and you can't miss those pitches.
What was the conversation there with the umpire as we went out to that last break, if you don't mind us asking?
Yeah,
Coach?
I don't mind it at all. I mean, when they make their switch, they don't ever start the 20-second clock until they get in position. I mean, that can't continue to happen.
Got you. Appreciate the time, Coach. Best
Thank
of luck
you.
rest of the way.
Yep.
Skip hopped on the headset. That was
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to get him. We saw him, the talk early on, but like you mentioned, the transparency with Rob Vaughn. I mean, it's the same thing here, and that's something you don't see a lot of time with coaches.
back to the top of the order. Walt, Gamble, and Carmichael will lead things off for the Sooners. It rolls back to the backstop. That conversation you were asking me, Lance, I can't tell if he's smiling or if this is serious. It felt more of the serious variety there, but we can't really tell. You just heard he was talking about that clock getting started.
I bet things, if you talk to Coach Johnson, that he never thought he would have had to do 10 years ago. Talk about the pitch clock.
Well, you guys mentioned it last night on the digital broadcast. Coach, it's all about respecting the game, and it is more of a old school approach that I think his team is built around, not necessarily that image, but that branding, and I think they play the game to that respect. This one's popped up to LeBron. Had to wait for it for out number one. Speaking of that old school approach, I had to write this down quickly. Our producer, Stephen Kim, got to it better than I did. The compete clause for OU and Skip Johnson, it is a lengthy acronym. The championship standard, OU before you. Mentality process, engage with the E, toughness with the T, and then last but not least, energy off speed. Makes it 0-1 to Trey Gamble.
Love it, right? I mean, that's one of those things where you can preach things to these 18 to 23-year-old kids. It's all about, do they buy in? How do you get them to buy in? And Coach Johnson is a guy who, again, preaches respect the game, but he does it as well, right? So he walks it out. The coaches walk it out. Coach Willits, Coach Butler, those guys do everything they need to do. I love the Oklahoma before you, right? This program was here before you. It'll be here after you. You know, you have a bunch of other teammates. I don't care if you're the best player or worst player. If you're on this roster, you mean something to this program.
Two strikes, the shift in play. Trey Gamble. And he will send that up the middle. LeBron, a sliding stop. No, that was Torres, the third baseman. No, it was LeBron. It always gets me when the third baseman shifts over past the shortstop.
I like it, though. That's the best way to do it, because now you have your guy who you feel like has the most range covering the most range. You know, Jason Torres would love for you to believe that was him right there. But, yeah, LeBron, nice slide. He's not able to pick it up. And a lot of it is it's just too much speed out of the box. I mean, that's a great play. Anybody else, it might be an out.
You were all over that from the get-go, as Gamble now is at first with the single to short. Second hit of the day. He's reached all 3 plate appearances, Trey Gamble. And certainly a threat to steal. Perfect in that department this year at 9. Easton Carmichael takes high for ball 1. Yeah, Rob Vaughn was giving us stories earlier today on watching Alabama basketball. Nate Oates and Philon with some comments about all the numbers and metrics. His Philon's like, look, man, I understand it all, but I'm just out. I got to get buckets. You know, at some point, it's about making shots.
Right. Sometimes one of those coaches, hey, like, just let it go in one ear, out the other, right? Coach, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to shoot, right? You don't care if I shoot, right? And that's what Nate Oates will say. Yeah, keep shooting.
Fly ball to right into the teeth of that Wen Fowler. Right there in the corner underneath.
Well, speaking of Fowler, that's what I was talking to Coach Vaughn about. I heard Coach Nate Oates' comments about Mark Sears, and he was in a slump shooting, and he's like, look, I'm going to teach you a term, regression to the mean, right? You're not a 5 for 35 shooter. You're better than that, and that's exactly what he's kind of the thought he wants to bring over to Bryce Fowler is, hey, he's in a slump. You're not this type of player. But I love the fact that Bryce Fowler goes out there and he's playing hard-nosed defense. He got a huge catch against Tennessee where he robbed a home run. Actually had a great play last night against Jackson Willits on a ball that was in the corner, made a nice catch on that. So you start seeing championship players go out there and play hard no matter what's happening on the field.
Alcock already with 1 pickoff today. Walk popped up to short. Gamble singled to short. And then Carmichael just sent one over to deep right. Jackson Willits. All Big 12 honorable mention last year. Member of the All Big 12 All-Tournament team. Maybe my favorite note of the weekend. Jackson Willits, valedictorian in high school. I mean, come on.
Yeah, give a little credit for that.
Fort Cobb Broxton High School. And of course, Dad, we talked about earlier, Reggie, associate head coach. Spent some time in the Yankees organization, 8 years there in the Bronx for Reggie. And we were talking a little bit pregame about some of his favorite vacations down in the Charleston, South Carolina area, my home state. I mentioned that my wife and youngest daughter headed up to New York for spring break in a couple of days, and I told Reggie, I was like, I love New York, love Yankee Stadium, but I didn't want to go with him. I don't feel like going to New York now. I need a little downtime with all the travel, and they're going to head up there, enjoy the sights and sounds. And he said, you know what? He goes, I think that's a smart move by you.
I agree. I could handle New York for about 2 or 3 days, and after that 3-game series, you just want to get out of there.
Yeah, he was a coach there. He spent a lot of time in White Plains. Commute in, do some different things, and fly in and out of White Plains instead of LaGuardia or Newark. I was like, Coach, you're speaking my language. That was the way to go. He goes, it's amazing because you're so close to the city, but yet it doesn't feel that way in suburbia. And the punch out to retire the side. And the 4th strikeout for Bobby Alcock.
Oh, Bobby Alcock, back-to-back zeros. This was huge for him. Little slider on inside part of the plate. Disappears at the end.
Great game back in Tuscaloosa. 3-2 our score. Home half of the 5th inning coming up. Oklahoma, the 1-run advantage. Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott, and there is Reggie Willits, year number 4 for the Sooners. Mentioned the coach in the Yankees organization for about 8 years. Also a couple of years with the Angels, and I'm just glad we saw eye to eye on the whole vacationing New York experience. And I said, Coach, I'm kind of a Braves guy, to be honest with you, because that's a great organization. I was pleased to hear that from a former Yankee.
You guys that are up in the big leagues, you start to respect every organization, because guess what? You can't get too far into one, because there's always going to be a time where you're looking to play, and if you disrespect a certain organization, that might be the one you need to go get signed with, right? So
smart. And you were telling me too, and I think you mentioned this to Reggie, the youngest Willits may be the one to watch.
Yeah, well, he corrected me. He said my middle one. I'm like, okay, well, it's so yeah. He obviously, Dad makes the big leagues. You got brother all Big 12 selection last year, having a great start, and Jackson might not even be the best shortstop in the family. Brother Eli is a senior this year, and you're seeing top 10 draft projections already.
Blooper into left center, and it's going to drop for Bryce Fowler. First hit of the weekend, leadoff man aboard for the Crimson Tide here in the 5th.
He had some good at-bats last night, 3 walks, then a couple jam shots, and sometimes you need those to fall, but right there, that's just a tough pitch. Good piece of hitting, goes down and gets it. Good for the young man right there. He's, again, second hit in the last 34 at-bats, but guess what? You block that out because you're 1 for 1 now, right? It's first one hit in your last one at-bat. That's all that matters.
And stepping in, Spanamolo. I'm not sure that he did that in time, so it's 0-1.
That's the second time that happened last night for one of the Alabama's hitters, and another one where Oklahoma pitchers get a free strike.
Now it's 0-2, just like that. And home plate umpire Alex Ransom right on top of it. Spanamolo. It's inside and low.
That's 16 of 19 first pitch strikes for Cade Carlson. So if you wonder why, why has he been so successful? Why is the score down? It's a guy that's just attacking the strike zone, getting ahead and staying ahead. Easy way to get that first pitch strike when you don't even have to throw it.
Off the plate, 2-2. That's probably my favorite part about baseball, is just talking about random things like vacationing spots and previous jobs and what it was like and what did you learn. As a broadcaster, you try to pick up those little tidbits, and maybe you can apply some of those things into our craft or whatever it may be.
Well, I know he brought a lot of pro baseball, and you're seeing that all over the country. Colleges bringing former professional players, but also guys that had worked in pro baseball to bring the analytics side of things that the professionals are using, and Reggie Willits is another one of those guys that can do that.
Chopped over to short, could be to an empty plate by Willits, over to first in time. Well, on cue, Jackson makes a spectacular play, and he made it look rather routine.
Yeah, I heard us talking about, hey, not the best shortstop in the family. Jackson Willits says, I can do all this by myself. Little shot up the middle. Does a great job of setting the feet. Strong throw, good arm. Again, there's athleticism on this Oklahoma Sooner ball club everywhere. I mean, we talked about it in the outfield, but also, I mean, him and Willis at third base made a phenomenal play last night.
Quickly 2 away for LeBron. Now Rob Vaughn talking with us about his star slugger, an incredible shortstop. And he talked about his approach, his demeanor, and how he's constantly deflecting things away from him towards his teammates. When it comes to the praise and the accolades, you just love a superstar with that kind of potential on the field, away from the sport. And it feels like that LeBron checks all those boxes. And speaking of checking boxes, how about Crossland at 95, that latest fastball here in the 5th inning.
A tie for his season high right now, 4 2/3 he had against South Carolina, so still showing some good velo.
Golfed into left field. That'll get down and get all the way to the wall. LeBron digs for second. Easily he will reach. And the first time we've seen Justin LeBron on base today with his 9th double of the year.
Well, Roy, that's what he does really well, right? He's had 2 strikeouts. One of them looking, one of them was on the slider down. Well, you think you can go back to the same pitch, and he does a great job. But that's not a bad pitch. That's a slider coming in. Maybe one a little bit lower if you're crossing, but still not a bad pitch. And LeBron makes the adjustment, gets that ball to the wall, and an easy stand-up double.
You've talked to scouts about what he brings to the table, and I mean it's lights out as far as MLB prospects and what this thing could look like in about a year.
Right, and that's the whole part is I guarantee you ask every single one of those scouts behind home plate. There was a lot more last night. Shoot, I think there was 50 in the Tennessee series here. Almost every team represented. There's argument that it would be this year. You know, like what one scout goes, what can he do well? Why would we not take him 1-1 this year, right? If he had the first overall pick. So he's a guy that's certain places. I think I've seen him number 2, number 1 next year. When it comes to players, right? According to D1 baseball, you got him number 1 right here. I've seen another thing has him number 2. And so that's the part where you're going, hey, he can do it all, right? It's defense. He was supposed to come to Alabama as a defense first guy. Yeah, he can hit, but hey, the defense was going to be good. He has scrapped that, and he is just an unbelievable player. And you mentioned the humbleness, just who he is. When you hear that, and that's when the scouts say, I'll talk to some of those guys, I'm like, well, you hear he's a better person off the field. And they go, well, that's even better to hear.
Rob Vaughn called him the bona fide superstar, and you've got unselfish players around him. He's the most humble person. He's been around real. It's not normal. And this young man, Cade Snell, leads the charge. Give him a little protection in that batting order, batting right behind him today in that 3-hole. 3 balls and no strikes, the count. The captain. 4 hits this weekend. And now that hit him right on the hip. So Crossland starting to work his way into a bit of a jam. There are 2 outs. The Crimson Tide now with runners at first and second, with Snell over at first and LeBron at second base.
Yeah, I mentioned this is the longest he's been out there, 4 2/3, and he's nearing the longest pitch count. Just a fastball gets a little bit away from him. I mean, you're thinking, hey, it's a hit by pitch, doesn't go down as a walk, right? 3-0, you get a hit by pitch, keep that strikeout to walk ratio looking nice.
As a pitcher, that's how you
right,
guys
yeah,
think.
little tricks, right? Especially in the fall and the spring when you're pitching and coaches are taking the notes and everything. And if you have so many walks, you got to go run certain things, man. That's a hit by pitch. That's not a 2-out walk.
Wow.
It's a hit by pitch.
I'm learning. I didn't know that was a thing.
Hey, you learn a lot when you got 9 poles on the line.
Here's Plattner. Big moment. Tying run in scoring position for the Tide. Crossland continues to deal.
Well, it goes right to the pitch, the number 1 that he loves, the comfort level, that changeup down and away from the righty.
Yeah, Rob Vaughn talked about that with us in game and how that changeup has been so dynamic. LeBron's going to steal third without a toss. Runners at the corners. 8th stolen bag of the year for Justin LeBron. And now 90 feet away from a tie game.
You got 2 pitches. All right, great jump right here for LeBron. You may be thinking trying to get Snell to follow to get in a scoring position, but he goes 80-mile-an-hour changeup on the black down away strike. Backed it up in 94 on the black strike.
Inside corner. Blattner caught looking, and now a new season high. 7 strikeouts for Cade Crossland.
Season high punch out, season high innings. Little good morning, good afternoon, and look, hey, need any help? Just looking.
Game summary, 3-2, OU leading Alabama in this top 15 SEC showdown. Game 2, Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott. Take a look at Cade Crossland. Season high 7 strikeouts, Lance, for my money. That is the story thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. And you give a little credit to the Oklahoma offense, scoring early and often, but Bobby Alcock has set it in. Cade Crossland, same thing, set the tone early. Now he's got his season high in strikeouts and innings.
Curveball on the outer half for a call. No, it's ball 1. I was ready to go with the strike. And 1-0 curve stays high.
That's definitely a ball.
That is a ball. The first one I thought was close. Maybe my second mistake of the day. The first one I think I will protest under replay review. I mean, the first fly ball of the year, play-by-play. You come in here, it sounds, it sounds one way, it ends up something else. You got the wind involved.
I'll back you up.
Thank
you 100% went with the sound, and it was good. So I wouldn't call that a mistake.
Okay, so I mean, we're just, we're here. And let's see, Alcock is talk home plate umpire Alex Ransom. Comes Jason Jackson out of the Alabama dugout. Hey, don't forget, coming up tonight, number 11 South Carolina, number 3 LSU continued their big 3-game softball series. Game 2 coverage starts 7 Eastern right here on SEC Network. LSU won last night 11-3. In run-roll fashion, the Gamecocks, a resurgence this year into the top 15, and they've turned out to be one of the toughest outs, literally, in the SEC. Get a chance to see them coming up in 2 games against Ole Miss. This one's tattooed to deep left, retreating to the track, and just in front of the fence. Taki gave that one a ride, but Snell was there.
That's a little lesson right there, Roy, to all the kids at home and watching, right? You fall behind 2-0. Sometimes you just got to trust the rule of, we were taught the rule of 63. Old Skip Bertman staying, guy hitting 370 63% of the time, he's going to get out. So wow. 2-0, just make the pitch. And I saw a stat where 68% of balls put in play in the big leagues last year was an out. So when in doubt, right, make the guy hit the ball to get on.
What a good piece of coaching that is. I've never heard that before. That baseball's a game of failure, right? And you might as well accentuate the success when you're the pitcher, when 63% of the time it's going to be an out against a hitter that had those numbers.
I mean, how often do you see guys hitting 370? So that obviously drops, but that's where, as players, pitchers do it, hitters do it, we all do it. We make that guy better in our eyes than they really are sometimes. And so you just got to trust the fact that you can make your pitch even when it's a disadvantage count for you, right? 2-0, and again, he throws, and that's a ball that you think, hey, fastball, they're going to jump all over. No, he takes it.
I mean, it was close to being a home run, but it was an out.
Right. I'm not saying all outs. I mean, there's some scary outs, but they're still outs.
What is it like on the mound and a ball is going at least to the track? You kind of freak out internally for that split second?
Right. The heart rate starts to race a little bit. It's there, but that's when the wind. Most of the time you can tell, right? I didn't get enough. Maybe it's going to be in the gap, but it's still in yard. But when you start playing with wind here and there, that's when you just don't know.
Loud sound off the bat. Ballpark will hold it. Onamolo. 2 away. I mean, give Alcock all kinds of credit. He has battled, he's persevered, and gave up a run in each of those first 3 innings. Here we are on the top of the 6th. His team still has a great chance.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? And you see the pitch count early at 19 and 16, and then he's gotten even better and better. I thought I was going to look up and see almost near that 100 pitch mark, but if you leave after 6 innings in a 3-2 ball game, right? Quality start, but also the matter of fact, the team has a chance to win. So Bobby Alcock, after a slow start, giving up single runs in the first 3 frames, has settled in really nicely for Alabama.
Has to be careful here with Sam Christensen. His 4th home run of the year. His first AB to lead things off in the 2nd. And Sam, 271 hitter, Mesa, Arizona. transfer from South Mountain Community College. His intended major, Lance, is organizational leadership. Ripped down the right field line and hooking foul.
To be honest, I did notice that earlier, and I wanted to go, what is that? This is his home run earlier in the game. Does a great job. Watch the hands. Just drop the head of the bat. An absolute rocket to right field. Stays inside that fair pole. But, yeah, organizational leadership. Like, I don't know. Where's that going? What are we going to try to do after college with that?
I mean, I think you and I could use some of that, right? I mean, because I just think you become more productive and a better version of yourself.
If we're going to talk about organizational stuff right here, like, you got a lot of paperwork, you got stuff flying everywhere. I got one piece of paper.
It's true, but I have to say a little bit more sometimes. Fill in the time in between pitches. Now, try not to fill too much time. It's not a radio call. Upstairs evens the count, but I do take a lot of pride in the sense that, you know, for the most part, I try to be organized. In baseball, it's a little more difficult when you've got promos, a scorebook, and then you've got your boards here where you've got all these different things with nuggets on the players. And I mean, if you don't have those organized, these are organized. The strikeout, and now the first 1-2-3 frame for Bobby Alcock. He's organized, we know that. And the lead remains 3-2, the home half of the sixth. Story so far back in Tuscaloosa. Kate Crossland, season high 7 strikeouts. 3-2 is our score. And just real quick for clarification, back to the booth on a picture-perfect day in Tuscaloosa. You've got to have everything organized. It's semi-organized. These are the boards that you have. It's got nuggets on every single player. You've got your scorebook here. You've got your game notes. You got your TrackMan technology, all these different things. And you try to keep them reasonably situated. Lance Cormier doesn't think that I've achieved that. He just has just simply the lineup, and that's it. So, I mean, who's ready and who's ready?
Hey, you were definitely prepared. I'm see ball, tell what ball did, right?
That's a good, that's not a bad thing. Will Hodo will lead things off for the Crimson Tide.
I'm all electronic. I got, let's see, was it 12, 13 tabs open with every stat possible?
See, that's disorganized. You're the guy on your cell phone that has 1,703 unread emails and like 45 texts that you haven't read.
I definitely got the text down where I'm at.
How
4.
do you sleep
I keep
at
them
night?
there. 14,298 Gmail them.
What? How?
Because it's like an email account that doesn't. Oh, look at that phone. 0.
I mean, the same. My youngest daughter just texted me and I got an email, but otherwise it's a clean slate. This one down the right field line, stabbed at a great play. Taki over to first, and it's in time. Well, a dynamic start for the Oklahoma defense and the right side of that infield.
Alabama's going to challenge this. I like the way that Taki does a good job. He fields the ball instead of rushing it. You see, he holds it a couple times and then gets it to his pitcher.
Birmingham, this is Tuscaloosa. They have us, Birmingham.
They will obviously take a look. Oh, I think he beat him. He got there first. Crossland got there. And that's going to be confirmed.
What a good view, too. That should be one of the easiest reviews. And a lot of that is literally going, Taki does a good job, holds that ball.
First base coach is the one that signaled that review. And what great job by our camera guys.
After review, the runner is out at first base. That is Alabama's first challenge of the game. They have 1 remaining.
So the challenge comes up empty. 1 remaining. Well, there's so much happening on that sequence, and for Rampon, 1 out here in the home half of the 6th. His team trailing 3-2.
You could see why first base coach Mike Morrison would have said, hey, you got to challenge that. It's a situation trying to get the leadoff guy on, you know, late in the game. You got 2 challenges. Don't want to go home with them if you feel like it is that close. And it was a close call, but clearly evident Crossland's foot got on the bag first.
Torres is swing and a miss, and he may have just grazed that into the mitt of Carmichael. Jason 0 for 1 today. Did draw a walk his last time up in the 4th inning. Been stuck at 3-2 since the bottom of the 4th. I think, too, when you come into baseball, you want to be over-prepared with all the stuff, especially that first game. Then you kind of do a couple more games, kind of condense it down a little bit. It's such an interesting sport to prepare for coming off of college football and then college basketball, though. I always tell people the best part about it is the spring weather, the sound of the ball hitting the bat. A few years ago, we did a top 5 list of the top smells of spring, especially at a baseball game.
Right.
I was working with Gabby Sanchez on this. He liked the smell of a baseball.
The leather. Oh.
Yeah, he would pick it up, a brand new ball, and just a good whiff of the ball, and that was one of his top smells of springtime, or the grill being fired up, out in the outfield.
Pine tar make it?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, number 1 on his list, you're not going to like it. It's the whole reason I brought up the story. What would be your number 1 top smell of spring and/or baseball? It could be, whatever. Spring could encompass mowing your front yard.
Right. I was going to say the smell of the grass cut would probably be the top. Which, by the way, grounds crew here, phenomenal outfield, the lines, everything. I talked to head grounds crew and just said, hey, like, this is the best it's ever looked. So they're doing a great job out here.
Gabby Sanchez played at Miami, played with the Marlins. I said, Gabby, what is your top smell of spring? And he said, I'll tell you what it is. You walk into a Bed Bath & Beyond store. I just looked at him like, what? Yeah, that was his favorite smell of spring. The other was the smell of the baseball I put on, the grill getting fired up for the first time. Or you mentioned the turf. The field looks immaculate here at the Joe. You cut that grass, that first good mow of the spring. It could be your front yard, your backyard. It could be at a ballpark like this. That's a great scent. Bed Bath & Beyond, though, no.
No.
What are we doing?
What is Gabby thinking?
What is he thinking? The smell of the baseball was a great one. Torres stays alive. This is a great battle with Crossland. He's now at 87 pitches, the 8th pitch of the AB coming up.
I love what Cade Carlson has brought to the table. You're thinking you have a future top 10 pick in Kyson Witherspoon going on Friday. You have his twin brother going on Sunday, and they mix in a lefty with extremely good stuff. Fastball has seen 96 already with a nasty changeup. So I like the setup of the 3 starters Oklahoma has.
Served over to short. Willits charging. He's got time. How good did Kyson look last night based off of what you guys were able to see?
Well, the stuff was just a little off, and that's what Coach Johnson was saying, that the slider, he just didn't have a really good field. Changeup kind of floated until later. The fastball, though, it was as smooth and easy as you want to see a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So I'm thinking, if I'm a scout, I'm watching this guy pitch, and he's still young into baseball, right? It hasn't had that many innings under his belt, and it's not max effort. It was just nice, free and easy. And when you see a free and easy delivery and the ball jump out of a guy's hand like that, you can start to anticipate, hey, if we get him a little bit stronger, a little bit more innings, arm comes around like that, like, what is it going to be? And also you go, hey, the body's going to hold up because it's not max effort.
Here's Garrett Staten. Back last night after missing 21 games. The wrist injury. Pops it straight up in the air right behind second. And now drifting with that wind to Branch, who reaches up. And a 1-2-3 frame for Cade Crossland. He remains in control. And the lead remains 1 for OU.
Might have the best lineup in college baseball, and that's even witnessing Tennessee play as well. I didn't see Gavin Keelan in there, but how about the Georgia Bulldogs? 76 home runs leading the NCAA. That was Friday. They hit 2 again today and beat Auburn already 11-7. So the Bulldogs are rolling.
Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott here in Tuscaloosa, Sewell Thomas Stadium. And the 2 starting pitchers today have gone the distance. Dawson Willis will lead things off for the Sooners. And right past him goes Alcock. Willis 0 for 1 was hit by a pitch in the 4th frame. Good game, good SEC game, good environment, kind of a later arriving crowd. All the activities happening in Tuscaloosa. It's nearly impossible to get a hotel room here this weekend.
Yeah.
Everything's so slammed.
I don't know why that was like that. I know they got some parents' weekend going on, but yeah, at the Oklahoma Ball Club, not at the normal places which you would think downtown.
Yes. I asked Coach Willits about it. He said, it's nice. Breaking ball outside.
You know, this, when you look at both starting pitchers, especially for Bobby Alcock, still be in the game. We showed Riley Quick, knowing he's the normal Saturday guy, hasn't, you know, don't know what's going to happen. He's been dealing with a little blister. Is he going to miss? So, like, that's how important this start was for him to keep going and get into the 7th inning, save the bullpen, because you might have Johnny Holstaff tomorrow.
Full count to Dawson Willis. After we did our little show and tell there with all of the stuff in the booth, I had my board closed and talking about smells and Bed Bath & Beyond stores and everything else since then. Shame on us. Willis, an outstanding third baseman, was the D2 Defensive Player of the Year. And he draws a leadoff walk. So Dawson Willis aboard. And the Sooners with a 1-run lead. Willis certainly a threat to steal with 12 stolen bags this year and 4 free passes issued today for Alcock. His first since way back in the 3rd, so he has settled in. That would be an understatement. And here comes Jason Jackson out of the Crimson Tide dugout. I mean, I think if you would have told Rob Vaughn pregame Alcock's going to give you basically 100 pitches today, I think he would take that.
Yeah, especially when he's exiting the game with a 3-2 ball game, and you know, on either side of it, you're right. I think Coach Rob Vaughn would go, I'll take that every day of the week. Gave everything he had, almost 100 pitches.
3-2 with a new pitcher coming in for the Crimson Tide. Connor Ball, the new Crimson Tide hurler. We'll tell you more about him on the other side. About 94 pitches for Bobby Alcock today. 5 strikeouts, a walk. He gave up the 3 runs, Lance.
Yeah, he had it all going, right? You see the breaking ball is late, and that's something that was the pitch that basically allowed him to extend those outings. And the crowd, the Crimson Tide faithful, gave him that nice standing ovation.
Right-hander is responsible for the runner currently over at first base, and the left-hander Connor Ball out of the bullpen. A great baseball name, right? He will get the call from Rob Vaughn.
Yeah, if you're a hitter, not a pitcher, Connor Ball, at least maybe he's playing ball, but yeah, Connor Ball, 86 to 88 with the heater. Your typical lefty type specialist. 9th appearance, only 3 in the 3rd innings.
Sooners will go to their bench and bring in Drew Dickerson as a pinch hitter. A lefty-righty matchup here. Willis over at first. A definitive threat to steal. Inside for ball 1.
Well, Connor Ball's 30% fastball, so it's mostly slider. Slider doesn't matter if it's a right-hander or a left-hander. That's his go-to pitch.
See if we see that again. No, this time 89 on the inner half. Ball and a strike. Dickerson, a freshman. It's a charge into that one, straight into the air, right center. That wind right back at the fence is going to keep it inside the park. And tagging on the play is Willis. He will get to second base. So heads up base running. Boy, that ball just kept drifting back. And finally Fowler, right before he reached the wall, able to make the play.
Next up to bat, center fielder, number 1, Jason Wall.
So Dickerson pinch hits for Harris. Brings us back to the top of the OU batting order for the 4th time. Runner in scoring position. Sooners would love to add an insurance run or two here late. Top of the 7th inning. A pair of 20-plus win teams. Alabama 24-3. OU at 21-4. Winning records in league play. You talk to the coaches in this conference, and Jason walked behind 0-2. Lance, there is a definitive line, the number of league wins that you carry into the postseason. Whether you are in the tournament, out of the tournament, on the road in the tournament, or hosting in the tournament. So every one of these conference games, I mean, to suggest they're critical, they're important, just a gross understatement.
Yeah, Coach Vaughn talked about that being anywhere from that 13 to 16, right? 3-game kind of window. I think that it's going to drop. I think it's going to get to the point where maybe 12 is the number now. When you start adding 2 more high-quality teams like Oklahoma and Texas into the SEC, makes it even harder.
Served into center field. That'll sneak through for a base hit. 1 run will score to make it 4-2 OU as Willis crosses home plate. And Jason Walk, his first hit of the weekend. And it's a big one.
Yeah, you're right about that, Roy. Great time to get your first hit. Big RBI. It's a big insurance run. You get those kind of insurance runs late in the game, it's demoralizing to a opposing team.
And we talked with Skip Johnson about his leadoff man, Jason Walk, this week, and he said, you know what, he's one of the best players that we've got. His speed, his energy, and he said he reminds me of the late Brian Cole, who played with the Mets and was also coached by Skip Johnson at Navarro College. And high praise. Cole was unfortunately tragically killed in a car accident before he could really reach the bigs on a full-time basis. But it's a player that Skip Johnson, the head coach for the Sooners, still thinks about each and every day. And he called him the best player I've ever coached, Brian Cole. High praise in the comparison with Jason Walk. That tragedy occurred way back in 2001. Late round draft pick was Cole, first by the Tigers, then by the Mets. And Brian Cole only 22 when he was killed that year. Gamble 2 for 2, sends it over to second. He'll get the force there. And Walk is retired. So Norton got it over to LeBron as quick as he could. I thought maybe he would just take the out over at first, Lance, but delivered a strike, and that was exactly what was needed to get the lead runner.
I'm right with you. I thought after you see the runner pass you, but that's just knowing the game, trusting how quick you can be, and the fact that Justin LeBron was going to field that like a first baseman.
Here's Carmichael, 1 for 2. 0 for 4 last night in that 8-6 loss by the Sooners. Oklahoma has rallied so far today, trying to even this series before a critical game 3 in the rubber match tomorrow. Nothing in 1, 2 away. Hit sharply, LeBron. And the force out at second to retire the side. Stretch time in Tuscaloosa, counter ball. Effective out of the bullpen. And 4-2, OU adds a run to the slate. In command from the jump. And the new pitcher, Jason Bowden, right-hander on the mound now for head coach Skip Johnson, a sophomore from Orangefield, Texas.
Yeah, he's been the go-to guy out of the bullpen. 15th appearance, leading the team. Can be a guy that can go multiple innings. Fastball is he lead up to 96, 97 miles an hour. Little slider, little changeup, but it's over 70% fastball. And so it's good to see a guy with that kind of fastball like to throw it. Sometimes you'll see a guy that throw that hard and they'd rather throw the breaking ball. Man, if you got an arm like this, use it.
Norton will lead things off. Second baseman. Drew a walk last night. 0 for 2 to start today. And that one grazed him. Bowden came too far inside. One pitch, leadoff man aboard for the Tide. Lance, I don't think there was a ton of contact there. We certainly didn't hear anything, but he came that inner part of the plate and grabbed a little bit of the jersey.
Oh, the jersey with the good wind, right? It flares up a little bit. I don't even know if that even touched him, right? But it does touch the jersey, and jersey's part of the body. Leadoff guy on for Bama.
We had a big conversation like that in football last fall, and I forget the scenario, but basically the ball touched the jersey in a fumble situation, and the jersey also is a part of the body, so it's a similar thing, and so that counted as a possession of sorts. And it was just something like a jersey, or if you have the long hair out of the back, does that count if there's something that occurs there? And the answer, if I remember correctly, is yes.
Yes. I mean, that's the easiest hit by pitch you can be
I mean,
for
you
a
love
hitter,
that,
right?
right?
Yeah. 94 on the inside part of the. No, I wore it like a champ.
Right off the pinstripes. Here's Fowler batting ninth. Seen Bryce in the leadoff position times this year. We mentioned earlier he got that base knock, his second hit, his last 34 ABs. Foul tipped, 1-2. Alabama's been in comeback mode the entire game. There was a rebound run the Tide recorded back in the third after trailing 3-0. One more in the fourth.
It just has the makings of a crooked number might win this ball game. What team can put up that crooked number first when you got a lot of single runs on that scoreboard?
Oklahoma undefeated when leading after 6 innings this year, 17-0. They led 3-2 after 6 today. Good take that time by Fowler. And the top of the order due up next here. The leadoff man aboard, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here is Bonamolo. LeBron in the hole. Big moment here in the payoff. Right off the glove of Taki, and it dribbles into right field. Well, Dayton thought he probably should have caught that one. Had some mustard on it. That's a base knock, and the first 2 reach for the Tide.
So it's just going to take Bryce Fowler just getting a little bit of positivity at the plate right now. You know, he was 1 for 34. Now he's 2 for his last 2.
Bonamolo dances in front of the plate, with Fowler now standing at first. And here we go. Now the wheels start turning in that Oklahoma dugout. Tying runs aboard, no one out in the bottom of the 7th. Norton at second base, Fowler at first. Top of the order. Bonamolo had the home run. Bunts it back to the mound. Recovering not in time. The throw gets all the way past first base. 1 run is in, and here come the Tide. Now Bowden would love to have that moment back. It's 4-3 in a brand new game.
Roy, everybody in the park knew Richie Bonamolo would be bunting with Justin LeBron. You see Jason Bowden off the mound. He's coming in hot. He's wanting to get the lead runner at third base. And then once he realizes it's too late, doesn't get his feet set, loses the footing, rushes the throw, and then chaos happens for Alabama. Bonamolo to third, Fowler to, Bonamolo to second, Fowler to third, and now you got the nation leading RBI guy, Justin LeBron, at the plate in a 1-run ball game.
So Norton touches home plate. Here's Justin LeBron, the superstar for the Crimson Tide. Right over the top, it's 0-1. So the E1 by Bowden. And as soon as he slipped, you just got the sense that that was going to be a chaotic sequence, and indeed it was. And quickly it's 0-2, and LeBron stutter steps his way out of the box, and Carmichael also takes a moment to collect himself. Justin LeBron, his afternoon, a couple of early strikeouts after a 3-for-5 performance last night, including a home run, his 13th of the season, and then golfs that one into left field. The double back in the 5th inning his last time up the bat.
Yeah, that first at bat was a little weird. He takes the fastball right over the heart of the plate. Usually you don't see LeBron take that pitch, and then unconventional goes out there chasing his second bat, but Carlson went to the well a little bit too much with that slider, and he's able to get him for that double in his 3rd at bat.
One unearned run is already in for the Tide. Have not led today. LeBron would love to change that, and he cannot. The strikeout 3rd time today. Justin LeBron has been retired via the strikeout.
What a sequence right here by Bowden. All fastballs right at you. Fastballs on the inside part of the play. He climbed the ladder too. It was 94, 95. Last one, a little bit more juice at 96. That's a huge punch out.
Lance, how hard is that to do against a player like Justin LeBron after you commit the E1 moments before?
Right, mentality, right? Stay in the moment. But the fact that you know that's your pitch, the fastball, you got a fastball hitter, and sometimes you just got to trust your stuff's better than him.
Here's Cade Snell. Bouncer over to second. That'll get us tied at 4. Willis comes home. Check that, Fowler. And a brand new game. The go-ahead run now standing 90 feet away at 3rd. And Bonamolo, good piece of hitting that time for Cade Snell. And here's Will Platner. Bowden tries to battle back and at least get his team to the 8th inning, tied at 4, but Platner's 1 for 3. Did have that double his first plate appearance. All got started when Norton was hit by a pitch to lead this frame off. You go back to yesterday and, well, quality at bats, the story of that Game 1 victory for the Crimson Tide, and Will Platner broke the tie.
This is a ball he absolutely crushes into left center field. He thought he had it. He's doing a little celebration, doesn't realize it hits off the middle of the wall. That's a good sell job, thinking, but it hit off the middle of the fence, and but off the bat thought he had it, but still big RBIs put Alabama ahead yesterday.
Bonamolo standing at 3rd base. Crimson Tide have yet to lead in this game. Off speed on the outside corner at 83. It's 0-2 to Platner.
He puts that pitch right there. It's back-to-back sliders away, and if he does that again, there's no way. That's as a hitter, you just go, oh, thank you. I'll tip my cap and you walk off.
Home half of the 7th. The wind starting to whip some of that dirt around. Hit sharply to second. Branch is there. Throw is a bit high, but it's in time. Crimson Tide will rally. A pair of unearned runs after the E1. We are tied at 4. Top of the 8th coming up. Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott. We mentioned the wind blowing the dirt around home plate just moments ago, and Platner, the hitter, you see right as he crosses the bag at first, he rubs his eyes, and Lance, you were saying as a hitter, that's something you have to be aware of, and what do you need to do there?
You just call time, right?
Yeah.
Throw the hand up to the umpire, step out of the box, because, I mean, obviously, if he's running and it's in there, you wiping the eyes, go ahead and fix the eyes before the play, right? You want to be able to see when that pitch is coming in.
Well, it's funny because the wind has been blowing in here at the Joe most of the afternoon. We're tied at 4. Top of the 8th inning, and a new pitcher to tell you about for the boys in the Crimson Pinstripes. Hagan Banks, a junior, right-hander from Plainville, Georgia.
Hagan's a guy that can give you some multiple innings. Had a great year so far. The 7th appearance. Love that ERA. The walks are a little bit high. Fastball in that 90-ish range, coming back from an injury last year. Guy that come out there and competes, though. Even at 90, though, he has one of those fastballs that just seems like when you look at it, you're like, God, it's got to be harder than 90, right? And it's almost 80% fastballs, and so it's throwing the ball where he wants to, even though it's not the high velocity.
A little surprised we haven't seen more situations like what we just witnessed with Plattner up to bat. Considering the Gus, and it has not died down. I mean, fortunately, the bad weather has stayed away from the Tuscaloosa area, but you look at the wind gusts today as high as 25 to 30 miles an hour. 0-2 to Jackson Willits. There it is. And it's been a steady breeze, much faster than 5 miles an hour, and it's whipped around consistently, coming in and a little bit towards right. 1, 2, 3, and Willits goes down with a punch out.
Well, kids at home, this is what you do with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. You put it right where it needs to be, on the black, down and away. 3 straight fastballs. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3.
Good morning, good afternoon,
good night.
Yes, sir. 1 up, 1 down for the Sooners. Here's Dayton Taki. Well, that ball off the bat of Fowler was hit so hard it nearly took off Taki's glove. 2 hops to second. Norton over to Hodo. We got 4 pitches. We got 2 outs near the top of the 8th.
That's what you get when you got a guy coming out of the bullpen. You got to come in throwing strikes. Hagen Banks, 4 pitches. You just mentioned Roy, 4 strikes, 2 positive results. It's huge after Alabama puts up a 2 spot on the board.
Banks trying to paint the outside corner. Comes back in with the heater. The other side of the plate. Ball to strike to Kyle Branch. 2 hits last night, 0 for 3 to start today for Kyle. We're seeing Banks work with the kind of momentum and pace that.
Well, the pitch count is not needed for Hagen Banks. He's a guy that is throwing the ball. I mean, he's on the mound, ready to go, and it's at 18. And he's got his sign. He's ready to go, and that's what you want to see. Especially a defense, right? You want your pitcher to come up there ready to go, get that ball, stay on the mound. A lot of times guys are walking around too much, taking a little bit too much time.
Breaking ball outside. Settles in low. Couple of ground outs, a fly out. Kyle Branch has reached 13 straight games before today. Serves this one to right field. Lifted that direction. Fowler tracking. And a 1, 2, 3 top of the 8th inning. Hagen Banks comes in, slams the door shut. We are tied at 4. Will Hodo will lead things off for the Crimson Tide after this. Great game number 2 between Oklahoma and Alabama. This top 12 SEC showdown. Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott, and a new pitcher on the bump for OU. Gavin Jones, sophomore lefty, checks in for the first time out of White Oak, Texas.
Oh, another high-end lefty up to 93 miles an hour with the fastball. Look at that strikeout to walk ratio, 16 to 1.
Is that good?
Yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, talk about coming in, throwing strikes, and #1 goal right now. He's got Will Hodo, the big Alabama lefty. Late inning heroics has been his call all year long. Look at that. Alabama 17 go-ahead home runs this season, most in Division I, and Will Hodo sitting at 5.
That is a robust number for
crazy.
one player. And you think back to that 10-run comeback against Ohio State.
And Roy, it hasn't just been like it's 3-run homers, it's grand slams. He had one against Texas A&M tied up in the 8th or 9th, and he put up a grand slam. The 3-run home run we've already seen with the Ohio State game.
Justin LeBron had the walk-off knock against North Alabama in the midweek tilt just a few days ago. Crimson Tide with 3 walk-off wins this year. Here in the home half of the 8th, tied at 4. Hodo will lead things off. High and tight, ball 1 from Jones. And the throwback gets all the way to the shortstop, Willits. Good game today. Fun game.
Yeah. What more can you ask for? 4-4 ball game in the bottom of the 8th. Well played.
The outer half at 92. Here at the Joe, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Big day in the state, big day in T-Town with the Duke-Bama basketball game. NCAA tournament winner of that game goes to the Final Four. Duke's a big favorite in that one too, by the way.
I didn't even see the line.
I don't even know what it is, but it's maybe a touchdown.
Really? Yeah. Bam was a 5.5 favorite against BYU. Threw up 25.
This one ripped into the shift, and Branch up with it. Coming up April 7th, we'll have a 2-hour recap of the SEC Equestrian Championship for you right here. The SEC Network, the ESPN app coverage starts 8 Eastern. South Carolina and Texas A&M competed at 9 Central today. It's all headed your way Monday, April 7th. They interviewed BYU's head coach, Kevin Young, middle part of the first half in that Alabama win, where the Crimson Tide hit 25 threes, and Skip Johnson out of the dugout is going to have a meeting on the mound, and we're going to have a pitching change. But the interview, reporter asked Kevin Young, hey, what do you do to try to get in the face of Alabama's shooters? He said, well, he basically implied there was going to be a regression to the means and that pace couldn't keep up. I just remember watching the time, I'm like, have you watched this team play this year? 25 three-pointers later and a brand new NCAA record for a single game. We saw the end result, and that's what Duke will be charged with later tonight. We'll step aside, tell you about the new Sooners pitcher when we come back to Tuscaloosa. Wheels turning for the Oklahoma bullpen. Reed Hensley, senior right-hander now, the new hurler. Head coach Skip Johnson, senior out of Lufkin, Texas.
Another guy coming out of the bullpen, pumping some strikes, man. 16-3 strikeout to walk ratio. That's why you see the sparkling ERAs out of their bullpen. It's up to 92 with the heater, little cutter, slider, curveball, no changeups.
Have we talked enough about OU's pitching in this game today? I mean, obviously Crossland was tremendous, but coming out of the bullpen, you see their second and third guys in relief with these strikeout to walk ratios that are immaculate.
Right, and you already have, we've seen yesterday Crooks, the closer, leading the conference in saves.
And Torres got underneath that pitch. Tracking out there is Gamble. It's in fair territory for out 2. The ball was hit in the air about 2.5 miles.
Yeah, Crooks pitched yesterday, and I liked how Coach Johnson Witten got him early. Once the game, Alabama took the 2-run lead in the 8th inning. You could tell it was like, all right, it's not going to go any further. So he went and pulled him, and it saved him, saved his bullets for possibly today or tomorrow if they took the lead again.
Yeah, last night came down to the 9th inning. Skip Johnson, the Sooners came up short 8-6, but left them loaded in the top of the 9th. This game coming down to the final frames as well. Garrett Staten, first pitch at 89, takes a strike over the heart. DH today, we've seen him at second base this year. Senior out of Gainesville, Georgia, Sanford transfer. Ball and a strike to count. Garrett was 1 for 2 last night. Base hit today. Drove in one of the 4 Crimson Tide runs. Wind picks up here in our broadcast position, creates a little chaos for the veteran broadcasting team. Got all these papers in here. Lance is quick to.
Yeah, I'm good. My
Offer
one
some
piece of
assistance.
paper is just tucked under my computer.
I want to be an analyst when I grow up. I want to bring one piece of paper in here. I'm ready.
Who's playing today?
4 runs on 6 hits for OU. 4 runs on 7 hits for the Tide. And now Staten works a full count. Payoff pitch on the way. Serve foul right behind us and out of play.
Big at bat here for Staten in the Alabama lineup. When you look a little bit further along, right, if you have the same situation going into the next inning, you obviously want Justin LeBron to have a chance to come up. So you need one more guy to get on to be able to guarantee you see Justin LeBron.
The punch out, and Hensley rock solid out of the OU bullpen. 8 innings in the books in Tuscaloosa. Sam Christensen will lead things off for the Sooners after this. Top of the 9th inning back in Tuscaloosa, tied at 4 in this top 12 SEC showdown. Sooners ranked 9th in men's basketball, women's hoops, and obviously baseball and softball as well. It is full tilt in the Southeastern Conference here at the end of March. Got April next week. First pitch to Sam Christensen. Floats across at 76 for a called strike. I do love that about this time of year. You know, as a play-by-play nerd, you get to call a variety of sports, but so many things are happening at once, and a leadoff single for Sam Christensen has the Sooners in business. And here comes Dawson Willis, who had a go-ahead home run late last week in a 2-run victory over Mississippi State. Lance.
Yeah, big blast right there for the Sooner Ball Club. Look at that. They can score some runs too when they need to.
Jason Jackson out of the Alabama bullpen, or excuse me, dugout, looking towards the bullpen. Talk things over. Hagan Banks for a moment. You got some activity down there with Braylon Myers, right-hander. What's the conversation here in your estimation, Lance?
I think it's more of a, hey, let's let Braylon Myers throw a little bit more. I think he's going to go to him. He is the high leverage closer today, with Carson Osmer going over 45 pitches last night.
We won't see him today, will we?
No.
They are going to make the change. So Christensen's leadoff hit, his 5th multi-hit game of the year as we step aside in Tuscaloosa. Well, Oklahoma and Alabama haven't met all that often on the baseball diamonds. OU in search of its first win in Tuscaloosa in program history. Skip Johnson would take that. More importantly, would take that conference win. It would be the 5th of this young league season. And for Alabama, another chance to claim a victory over a top 25 team. It would be their 7th of the year. And good news for everybody. There's more chances coming up in this conference to claim top 25 wins as we get deeper into league play, Lance.
Yeah, 12, 13 teams so far have been ranked in D1 baseball. You got Braylon Myers, a senior, coming on. Again, another high leverage type of guy, not quite the closer, but has a couple saves, been out there, and strikeout to walk ratio good. He's a guy that can give you multiple innings as well, and so this is able to stay tied up. If Bama can't score and he holds it here, he can extend the game a little bit for you. Fastball is going to be up to the 91 range, but does a good job of mixing the slide of the change. And they talk about stuff this year just being a little bit better, all around, a little bit crisper, a little bit more velocity. And that's why he's having a lot better season.
Here's Dawson Willis, officially 0 for 1 here in game 2. Squares to bunt, executes that sacrifice brilliantly. The throw over to first, gonna be in time, and it was bang bang. And Dawson signals back to the OU dugout to have a look at that sequence.
You start to see the slider. So the easy pitch to Deaden right there. Dawson Willis, great job.
Runner at first base is safe. Oklahoma retains their 2 challenges.
As a player, when you signal back, let's go ahead and review that, and then it's justified with the call being overturned. That's a big moment internally.
Well, a lot of times I like to just go on the player's reaction. If they go like, hey, like they know you've played the game, you've done it enough. You know when you step on that bag before that ball, you hear the ball, you know you're safe. Man, you saw a bunt right there. I am almost positive we're going to see another bunt.
Right away. Get on the headsets. Let's take a look. And we've got a pinch hitter. Brandon Kane stepped in for a moment, and now Jason Jackson out of the Alabama dugout again. And everybody will get together and talk about the most critical moment of this game. Tied at 4, no one out. And OU with the go-ahead run in scoring position. 2 on base. 1 at first, 1 at second for the Sooners. The wheels are turning.
Strategy talk. You got Coach Reggie Willits pulls all the offensive guys over there to go over it. Coach Jason Jackson's like, well, we might as well go over what they're probably talking about, which almost definitely will be a sacrifice bunt attempt.
So here's Kane. Brandon Kane, a junior from Mobile, Alabama. So an Alabama native back here in Tuscaloosa. Sends it over to third. They're going to get the force out with LeBron standing on the bag. And how big was that? They'll get the lead runner.
Roy is called the wheel play, right? You got the shortstop goes and he takes off. Third baseman comes crashing hard. You see LeBron sprinting to third base, and you're trying to bunt it to third base, but when the wheel's on, you want to keep it away from him. But heck of a job right there by Alabama. Jason Torres to Justin LeBron, getting the first out of the inning.
How big was that? Willis now at second, Kane at first, and here's the top of the order and Jason Walk. Base hit in RBI's last plate appearance. Takes low and away here. One hit in the weekend in 9 ABs.
Yeah, but it's another guy like Bryce Fowler, like we talked about. All that matters is that last one, how you feel.
Yeah, the next pitch Fowler saw, he nearly took the glove off of Taki at first base. It was hit so sharply.
We talk about the game of failure, just getting something positive that your mind can go on, and you're replaying that is sometimes all it takes to get yourself rolling again.
2-1. Eight to 6 last night in game 1 in favor of the Tide. Tied at 4 in game 2 in the 9th inning. Throw back to second, and Willis able to get in. A lot happening in that Crimson Tide infield these last 2 batters.
A showcase of pitcher fielding practice and things that you go over all the time and get a chance to execute the wheel play. Alabama nailed it.
Get the wheel play in baseball, the wheel route in football. 3 balls and a strike. Well, this becomes an incredibly enormous pitch to Jason Walk. Sooners left him loaded in the 9th inning yesterday. Difference there, it was a 2-run deficit. And now the bases are loaded for OU again today. Willis at third, Kane at second. Walk at first base, and here's Gamble. Trey's 2 for 3, couple of singles. He scored twice. And that batting average now above 375. Sooners have not trailed in this game. Alabama rallied in the 7th to tie it at 4. And a shot. It's going to be held up by that win. Fowler underneath it. Runner tagging at third, slides in ahead of the throw. And OU's back in front 5-4. So Gamble gets the job done. The sac fly, the RBI.
Crazy how much speed Oklahoma has and how easy he made that look. That ball's a shallow fly ball to right field, and he has that beat by, you know, a couple steps. Didn't even really have to slide. I think he just did that to have some fun.
Sooners reclaim the advantage. 2 outs, runners at first and second. Easton Carmichael digs in. Wind shifting towards right field, and a fastball over the heart of the plate. Carmichael out of that 3-hole, 1 for 3. Slugs that one right into the dirt. Junior out of Prosper, Texas. His dad Darby was a catcher for the Sooners in the early 90s. His brother Braden also a pitcher at Oklahoma just 2 seasons ago. Love to add on an insurance run or 2 for OU here on the road. Serves that one down the right field line and out of play. Still 0-2. Be 8-9-1 due up for the Crimson Tide home half of the 9th. And if anybody reaches, it'll be Justin LeBron time.
They're pulling them all out. Back pick, first and second with the back pick.
The 0-2. Straight back in our direction. Myers back to the drawing board on the mound for the Tide. Braylon Myers. Sac fly by Trey Gamble, the difference in this one so far. Oklahoma trying to even the series, off speed and fouled straight back and out of play again. It is that critical moment when you look at the league record. 7th pitch of the AB coming up. OU with a loss today drops down to 500. With a win at 5-3, you just feel different about life.
I'm telling you that winning this series, sitting at 6-3 or even better, feels so much, you know, like you accomplished something. You're in the positive, the 3-game positive after 3 weeks.
This one through the hole on the left side into left field. Coming home to score is Kane. And the Sooners get a badly needed insurance run. The throw gets away. Now back to home plate. Coming home and out. Walt retired trying to score after the errant throw behind home plate. And they may want to look at this. Well, there's a lot happening in that sequence there, Lance.
I think they're thinking maybe some defensive obstruction around the third base bag. That's right, they might challenge multiple calls. They have 2 challenges left.
Oklahoma's challenging the out call at the play. I got it.
Lance, I don't think we see anything there to suggest the tag wasn't applied before walk cross home. I mean, the throw beat him easily. The question was the tag errant or on point? And from that angle, it looks like it's right on top of it.
Yeah, but Coach Raley at third base, he kept pointing back like there was something that happened. Maybe the Bama defender got in the way of the runner.
And perhaps a point of clarification in order if this continues.
I love how the guys just have to wait their turn. You're the opposing coach, right? Let him say his piece.
Not always easy to do with moment this magnitude, and for Rob Vaughn. Well, Carmichael singled through the left side. That scored a run. And then advancing to second on the throw. Then over to third, and finally at home was walk.
Go ahead. This is up.
And here comes the official call.
After review, the runner is out at the plate.
Sooners score 2 to grab the advantage to the home half of the ninth. And there it was. A little bit of an obstruction. Walk trying to get around LeBron. 6-4.
Kane's still in the game and right, by the way.
Thank you. 6-4, bottom of the ninth inning. Lance Cormier, Roy Philpott. And I want to go back to the top half of this frame. And Lance, we saw Walk trying to get around third base with LeBron basically standing right at the bag. And there's a lot happening here first. The throw gets behind home plate, then down to second. Nothing happening. The throw back home, Walk sliding in. But they were also examining what occurred over at third, and this is the moment. What do you see there?
Right. You see Justin LeBron in front of the bag. He has room to kind of touch the bag and go around it, but it's smart heads-up base running. Maybe he's not throwing out if he doesn't touch him, but I don't think he needed to hit him, and I don't think Justin LeBron got in the way.
And nothing was changed in regards to the out occurring at home plate. And it'll be 8-9 in the top of the order. 3 of the 4 Alabama runs have come from there. And Coleman Mizell be called as a pinch hitter in the 8 hole to lead things off here in the bottom of the ninth. And top closer in the SEC, at least up to this point, Dylan Crooks on the mound for OU. Leads the league in saves and a first pitch fastball at 94. Well, he looks faster than that the first time out of his right hand.
Yeah, it's got a little, giddy up at the very bottom of the zone. Alabama saw him yesterday. Faced 3 batters, 9 total pitches.
Mizell low and in, and that grazed the umpire, and Alex Ransom a hop, skip, and a jump away from the box for a moment. Boy, you could hear that one up here. That wasn't like the pitch that came inside and grazed the jersey earlier. Ouch.
That is going to leave a mark. You will feel that tomorrow.
Ball and a strike to count. Crooks, of course, his brother Jimmy caught for OU back in 2022. Great leader, understands the program understands the culture, and Skip Johnson led straight from Crooks into their compete clause that we talked about earlier, the acronym for championships in the standard in Norman. Three balls and a strike. Mizell, a sophomore, played in 11 games last year. 5-pitch walk. Tying run comes up to home plate, and a good take by Mizell. And now a great chance that we're going to see Justin LeBron hit in this inning with ducks likely on the pond, and we'll see, Lance, what that means. Jackson Kersher, freshman out of Little Rock, Arkansas, trying to stay loose. Wind still blowing in and slightly towards right field for Bryce Fowler. Couple of knocks a day for Bryce. This one a charge to straightaway center, and it's down for a hit right in front of Wonk. And all of a sudden, Bryce Fowler riding a heater today.
Telling you, boy, positivity in this game goes a long way. You see yourself and feel what the bases feel like. Bryce Fowler, 3 for his last 3. Alabama's got something brewing in the 9th. That leadoff hitter, Richie Bonamolo, you're looking at a bunt situation, most likely getting 2 guys in the scoring position. Situation that Justin LeBron had in his last at bat.
So Fowler was 1 for 33 before this game. Now has 3 consecutive knocks after grounding out to second his first AB. Bonamolo shows bunt, and charging in from first was Taki.
Alabama's yelling balk. It looked like he flinched a little bit as Jackson Willits went to second base. Goes uncalled.
Taki again charging. Bonamolo takes on the outer half. 0-2. Richie's 1 for 3. That one, a home run in the 3rd inning, 2nd of the season. 0-2 from Crooks outside. Rob Vaughn always talks about believing, the belief, the confidence. Comeback wins this year, documented several of those here today. Oh, the outside corner, and a called strike 3.
Crooks showed he could go right to that pitch and continue to put in the right spot. If you get it called, go back to it. And Alex Ransom might have given him a little bit, but gets the punch out.
Now Crooks has only given up 2 earned runs all season. One was last night, and here's where you have to be careful if you're Dylan Crooks. The superstar Justin LeBron, a big rip right into the heart of the net. If you're Justin LeBron, what does his mentality need to be here, trailing by 2?
But again, these kind of guys stay in the moment, right? You can't try to do too much, but right now Oklahoma is absolutely pounding the fastball in. 95 mile an hour from Crooks. So it's either fastball in, going slider away.
LeBron with 3 strikeouts and a double today in his 4 plate appearances. Whips that past him at 93.
His last 5 pitches have been all fastballs, and the catcher has slid in every single one of them. So now you have so much to work with. You can do the exact same thing, maybe go up the ladder a little bit more, or look to go that slider away.
LeBron steps out for a moment. Tying run, our board, and LeBron get those gloves in order. You see his numbers, runners in scoring position this year. Electric. First team All SEC shortstop, freshman All-America. That was last year. Leads the country in RBIs this year. Against the heat of Dylan Crooks. Fights it off.
He had a little smile right there. I think that ball hits him in the chest if he doesn't swing. Or if he doesn't even hit it. Yeah, that ball hits him square in the number.
What does that tell you as a pitcher?
he's hacking at the fastball and he's trying to get his hands in.
You're not going to throw him anything over the plate at this point, are you?
No chance. You make him go out there. Yeah. You're going to see how far he will go. Will he expand the zone, especially if he's getting in that swing mode?
Little cat and mouse game here. 1 and 2.
As you start getting cat and mouse, you get out of your rhythm as a pitcher. All of a sudden, you feed into what the hitter wants you to do.
Really into the weeds. And this AB for Justin LeBron. Now Justin thinking the same thing we are. So was Dylan Crooks, and so nothing to hit. Now with a 2-2 count, we'll see. This is fun.
Oh, you love seeing the superstar is up in the situation, bottom of the ninth, winning run.
Heat versus power. LeBron stays alive. Boy, Carmichael may have caught that ball right off the bat. The inner thigh.
That's twice today.
Not pleasant. Alex Ransom will give Carmichael a chance to reorient. In the bottom of the ninth. Crunch time in Tuscaloosa. Crooks comes home. Let's do it again.
And that's the part where you went the 0-2 fastball up, non-competitive pitch. Then you go breaking ball off the plate, non-competitive pitch. Now you're thinking 2-2. I got to be more in the zone, and you're seeing balls. He's going in, but that's more inner third, and that's where LeBron's going to beat you. Got to still think you got to get to the corner if you're going in.
3 hits last night, including a home run. Just 1 today for Justin LeBron. Full count. Pitch number 19 from Dylan Crooks, the payoff. LeBron stays alive. $13 home runs this season for Justin LeBron. If he reaches 14, ball game ends.
These are the situations where you're working for in the fall, those long days in the fall that you're picturing yourself. Batting practice right here.
The payoff again, and LeBron spoils it into the Bama dugout. 11th pitch of the AB coming up. What a battle.
I mean, Oklahoma's got their best. SEC leading 7 saves. Bama's got their best. Justin LeBron up here. What more could you ask for, Roy?
The 3-2, low and away. Bases are loaded. Advantage, LeBron.
You talk about a high quality at bat. Falls behind 0-2, fouls off some pitches, and then able to lay off a beautiful slider away, and then fired up, looking at his dugout, knowing that he just passed the baton to a very hot hitter in Cade Snell.
Cade Snell, SEC play, hitting .500. .433 for the year, 1 for 3 today. And here comes Skip Johnson. That gives us a moment to take a deep breath and relax. Bases juice. I mean, First 2 games of this series, you couldn't ask for much more from these 2 top 15 teams.
Well, I mean, that's what you're looking for, right? These are the types of matchups. We talk about super regional play each and every week in the SEC. And when you look at the end of the season, if you saw these 2 teams match up in the super regional, you would go, yep, good weekend, right? Good series. And you're thinking, hey, 2 ball games like this, it's almost like a reversal of last night. You had Oklahoma with the tying run at second base. Now you have Bama, the same thing, tying run at second base, winning run, and Justin LeBron at first.
Skip Johnson back to the dugout. Cade Snell, 16 multi-hit games this year. He'd love to make it 17, and chances are if he does, we'll be tied at 6. Dylan Crooks press the reset button after the walk to LeBron. Snell, chopper, second. Waiting on it was Branch. 1 run scores to make it 6-5. And now Alabama down to its final out.
Or if you're OU, you're excited about that. Crooks will take that ground ball. You'll trade the run for an out, and especially in a situation where you feel better about a right-on-right matchup. That was a dangerous matchup with the lefty Cade Snell, so you'll take that easy ground ball.
And it all comes down to Will Platner. 1 for 4 with a double. That came in his first AB way back in the 2nd inning. Crooks, the breaking ball outside.
Also gives you a base open. You can be a little bit more creative, a little smarter how you pitch, Platner.
Sooners an out away from tying up this series. 94 miles an hour. Ball and a strike. When Crooks is having to earn every ounce of this frame on the mound for OU. And Alabama down to its final strike. Boy, gut-wrenching moments these first 2 games. All business on the mound. When Platner thought about it and thought better. Peel down to first. It's 2-2. Junior from Springfield, Illinois. Transfer from Ole Miss. Will Platner. Two from Crooks. Full count. Will Hodo in the on-deck circle for the tie. Fowler at third, LeBron at second. And a payoff again. Oh, the outer half for a called strike 3. And the ball game is over. Dylan Crooks. 6-5, the final. Pressure-packed moments. Boomer Sooner gets it done on the road in game 2.
Boy, Crooks continues to pump the fastball down away. Might have been a little bit off, a little bit low. Gets the call. Alex Ransom gives it to him, and save number 8 for Crooks. That's the NCAA leading save, not only just the SEC.
First 2 games of this series. Oklahoma, welcome to the SEC here in Tuscaloosa. As good as you will find this year in the SEC.